Radiant are scanning for enemies.
Not looking to contest at the moment. And with that, Aegis onto the Tiny.
Yeah, with the RP and the curse up, a little bit frightening, but of course they do have some great vision options here between the treants being thrown around. They have their flares, they even used a scan, so OG, slight risk, but calculated to be a benefit in the end, and they were correct.
And look at this, Seb showing on the lane. Team Spirit, they're gonna run right into him. You don't have an Aegis, sir. Hello, hello. The jump forward, want to bring him down. Back wall afterwards, though. The turnaround coming from OG. Able to get the Cogs push back, but Seb already dead. Now Thompson looking for the pullback. Onto that Winter Wyvern, going to get the kills to Mail. Finds the back line, going to catch Mira and kill off that Lion. Collapse. Has to jump away. Toronto Tokyo goes for the Remnant through. TP out afterwards. Do they have anything else left in the tank? No! Toronto Tokyo able to get away from that one at the last second.
Yeah, only able to get the supports there, so looks, you know, nice attempt trying to just go onto the darks here, but Soxa came through that hook shot right onto the Wyvern and the Mag. Those are like your two fight turners, right? So if he can catch those two, the options quickly dwindle for T-Spirit in that fight when you already know the Chronosphere is going to be down. I think they did a pretty decent job of disengaging there, but it's still going to be a victory in the end here for OGs. They feel comfortable pressuring in with the Aegis on. I say that, of course, they have those big spells.
Oh, and there we go. The Winter's Curse comes out. Collapse moves in afterwards. Does have a skewer. The pull him on back on to Toronto. Get knocked down low. Has to Remnant out of there. Barely left alive. The jump through for another round. Winter Wyvern now dead. Sumail dropping lower and lower rooted. Can they find the finish? Needs one more hit and they'll finally get him. But now Seb trying to chase down Toronto Tokyo. And the Aegis will be reclaimed as Choro caught. Has Chrono still.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Might need to commit it. Has the jump away for the moment and actually goes in. What? He would turn this around. Finds Seb now with Toronto Tokyo having another salvo of spells and Mira being back alive. They might be able to find the rest of the finish. Oh, yeah. In trouble. Team Spirit are fighting back and trying to take down OG. He gets away again. No, Toronto Tokyo falls. Sumail is too big. And where's the detection? They killed all of it. Oh, wait, is he hunting? Oh my god, does he know?
He's just hoping.
Literally just walking in vision. Oh, but they're not quite going to be able to catch him. God, that was so close.
What a play from Yadaro, going back into that fight with the Chrono, the Time Walk getting off there with the help of the BKB. And they find an even exchange and was looking like just another victory there for OG economically. They will continue to hold the lead right now, and you can only imagine, like, if that Ember had Empower for that last bit of that fight, that would have been so much better for them.
I mean, it turns around completely here. You can see this Winter's Curse.
He just got that BKB too. Yes. You can see right here in the replay.
So much damage coming out, and you can see Sumail wants to stay aggro. You know, he's got this Aegis. Feels like he can fight, but they burn through it.
You can also see, like, even when he comes back on the respawn, they did such a good job of kiting around Sumail. They're trying to focus down all the other heroes on the side of OG, sort of trying to ignore and dodge. Of course, Sumail, you know, he picks up a couple kills in the end, and he lives there because of that, but something that you're going to have to do. And yeah, you can see right there, gets so low, 200 HP, but right back onto Soxa with the Chrono, hitting onto 3-2.
Back into the game, though. Back into the game. The jump. Avatar's dead. Collapse. Caught. Winter's Curse onto 2. Oh, but they don't have the Chronosphere. But Poshka down low, and Thompson eventually going to burn him down to death. So OG, when they don't have cooldowns on Team Spirit, it's time to party. And they make it work.
Couldn't withstand the tide.
6,000 gold lead now. Even with the kill advantage, it's OG that are the ones that are pulling ahead.
Oh, Toronto Tokyo, he's made some plays this game. He wants to try and push them off here. Feels pretty safe, you know, having the BKB and whatnot, but not enough to punish onto No Tail. And now Sox are coming through. Has the Ags, but both the hookshot and the overclock are both on cooldown. Not able to go for very much here. Of course, Sox also wants to just keep following. That hookshot's coming back soon.
No Tail here again. Sumail moves in, and they force the Remnant away.
Sox is there just throwing out. He's thinking about it. Wants to try and catch him. Maybe before he has a Remnant timeout or something. Now the 5-hero group up now from Team Spirit. They're going to smoke. No vision on this from OG.
Have to be aware of
this is not the hero they want, though. Oh, and look at this. Soxa pops the smoke with the ward in the middle. He goes in.
Onto both of them. Catches onto the two, but the skewer out. Mira livid, but not for long. Absolutely obliterated. Soxa did his job. Ends up falling afterwards. Now No Tail tries to back away. Yaroro chasing. Right clicks. Has Chrono available. The turn. They've got Sumail if they want him. They walk forward.
They
the
have
pull,
curse.
the chase, but they decide they don't want to fight. There was a buyback from that clock. Winner's curse to buy a little bit of extra time. That one tree and forced him away, but Thompson able to find one kill. Yaroro backs away again. Without the rest of their lineup, Team Spirit don't want to take this fight. Gotta be careful, Seb. Vacuum back, jump away. And Team Spirit able to dodge that one.
Yeah, not quite close enough to get the overclock and go for some hook shots there. Did cost Soxa a buyback, only one to come back in that fight, but was a eventual slight goal game for Team Spirit. These fights have mostly gone even.
Yeah.
Near the end of this game, but again, still the lead for OG just keeps growing.
Just feels like they get more gold from creeps or something. I don't know, man. It's just like, how do they do it?
Did it? That was the whole TI secret, it turns out.
How is this happening? They're killing it.
I mean, you can see it though. Like, they just have heroes.
Nice. Kill him. Yes, totally good. That was a good kill from Mira. Great. There goes the Void still farming, trying to get his items together. You have the clockwork. 0 and 6. He's just there to initiate and die, literally. If you play clockwork this way.
And it's off.
Dire are standing for enemies. What's happening here? Dire's bottom tower is about to flounder. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Radiant think fortification
Trying
can
to bring
save
down Radiant's
them.
top tower. Any port in a storm.
Dire's bottom tower is about to flounder.
Radiant's top tower is on the rocks.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Monster kill!
Dire's bottom tower won't last long.
Mega kill!
A death portal. Killing spree. Unstoppable.
Double kill! Dominating!
Double kill.
Godlike!
Double kill.
That was good. Jesus Christ.
And in the end, it just wasn't enough. The Avatos combo too strong. Man. Can see now the fight breaking out afterwards. Toronto, Tokyo focused the rest.
How is Soxa actually hookshotting onto Collapse and Maposhka though?
Yeah.
It's every single engagement. It's, yeah, maybe he doesn't get the kill right away, but you can see again, Maposhka goes down again without the ulti because of this. Because you create this panic, and Yano did everything he could to try to save this fight, but it couldn't be salvaged. I swear, wasn't he just dead? No. He saw that stat. I think he's top 3 for deaths or something at TI time. He's up there around with like Puppy and everything. So he, this guy, he likes #1.
That's true. Gotta get it. Got to get it. As you can see, the damage numbers mounting out.
All right.
Sumail definitely carrying the team in this regard.
No-tail.
Okay.
He's gonna buy back here.
Interesting. Comes back in. Wants to help them clean this up as quickly as possible, but you can see movement, hook shot afterwards, finds onto one, force step out, jump in afterwards, doing a ton, but these calls again, catching on the both, and they pull them all in, tries to skewer out, it's not going to be good enough. Sox are dead, and they manage to live through that wall initiation. Now the winner's curse to buy a little bit of extra time. It's the illusion that's keeping it the full range, but the BKB gets off a little bit too late as Mira. And Moposhka again dead on this Wyvern.
Fast fish.
So they claim that outpost, and Toronto Tokyo thinks about going back in again throughout that remnant, but not going in as Roche 2/3 HP.
That buyback from No-Tail to kick everything off, throws it the ulti instantly, and honestly, the thing I'm saddest about is it's going to slow down that that Moonshard gift here.
Yeah, true enough.
But now, Team Spirit, they see a possibility here. They have Chrono, they have RP, they have everything.
He's there to break it again. Slight fist off the mark, but they get the pullback. Horn toss.
Nice horn toss. Good free pick. That's a dieback.
70 seconds. No tail. No tail. Let's try to do something there. Do you like it? No? Okay. Minute. Thank you.
Is there a rewind? Do we have that production? Can we avoid that? All right. Anyway, we're good. You don't have time walk, that's okay. You have to live with your mistakes. Yadoro.
Round two.
A little luck here.
Jump in. Mira caught again. Thompson finds one. Hook shot onto two afterwards. Collapse on the other side. Does have an opening, but he runs into the cogs. Has to be careful. The overclock was used. Toronto Tokyo tries to back away. Sumail hunting, looking for a pick, but they find Thompson. Mira ball back right on top of him. Finger of death. Oh, but they dissimulate. And then the walk away. Silence out afterwards. Looking for the chase. Do they find him? Sumail misses on that avalanche. The Chrono on the other side finds Seb. Yadoro gets him for the finish. That's no buyback either on him. Soxa caught the winner's curse. Oh, it's going to take down Thompson. One by one, they're getting pulled apart. Team Spirit working together as a squad and trying to finish it off. Can Sumail do it all on his own? That BKB, it doesn't have a lot of duration left. Winner's curse, another one dead. Sumail is pretty freaking large. Is he really going to do this all on his own? Team Spirit, are you biting off more than you can chew? The Rock Man is pretty damn strong.
This is a frightening scene that they're running from one.
Oh no, you got to be careful. Sumail is
scary.
scary, and he is mad.
All right,
I'm gonna do it myself.
That seems to be the only option left here for Sumail. Heroes and OG falling after that dieback from No-Tail led into an advantageous fight from Team Spirit. Great play from Yadoro. And they sort of just like spread out in that fight, you know? As you can see on the replay here.
We gotta keep our eyes on this. Back into the game here. Calls, push back afterwards. They get the Roche. Looking for more. Abba toss, remnants away. Toronto Tokyo barely able to get out of that one.
Yeah, but certainly not able to interrupt anything there.
This game has no breaks.
Yeah, we have the Aegis and the Shard there for Sumail. So, oh, did he get gifted it, by the way? Yeah, so he does have the Moon Shard. So now, if you remember, OG, when IO used to have the talent that gave the Aghanim Scepter, they were one of the first teams to do that tiny buys the Battle Fury.
Right.
Sorry, the Butterfly strategy, not a Battle Fury, that would be hype. He would buy a Butterfly, and then by the time IO got the talent, you would just suddenly have Ags and Butterfly, and it was absolutely ridiculous. So I feel like No-Tail kind of trying to do a similar thing here.
Right.
Where he's just like, you know, I don't need items. I went this whole game on just regen. I'll just give a Moon Shard to my Tiny.
Exactly, and now look at all this extra net worth that he's got on the Tiny. An extra 60 attack speed, some of that night vision as well. And Sumail, we've seen how strong this Tiny can be. Can he keep doing it for OG here? They're up 7K gold, has an Aegis. And how do you stop him?
That's a great question. I believe it comes from this magical spell called Horn Toss.
That's a pretty good one. Can they do it though? Finger of Death afterwards if they want to use it, bringing him down low and dead once. Round two though. Coming back in for this one. Yadoro caught, does have the Chrono, gonna connect. They're trying to kill him off. Hook shot in. Is it gonna be good enough? BKB out the wall. Everything for my Sumail, but will it be enough? They kill him. They take him down. No buyback. And now looking for more. Seb in trouble as they run him down one by one. They actually did it to him. Collapse.
Well, I'll tell you, Tiny he might be the hero of the tournament, but the smell of the tournament is horn toss. This thing, it's so ridiculous. It's like I willed it into existence because that's how easy it gets once you have this available. It's such a crazy tool on your high ground. You think Darkseer is good on the high ground? Mag with this spell is good on the high ground.
An unbelievable series of events, and to do it like this on the TI main stage for this youngest team at TI, Team Spirit, wanting to go up one game in this series, an elimination series against the two-time TI champions.
Really tight, Hunter.
The gall. They're absolutely wrecking here. 20-33. It's now down to a 2K gold lead, and more importantly, Team Spirit have an opportunity to try and take down these objectives.
The most impressive part is this is a game that's taken a lot of patience from Team Spirit, waiting to try and capitalize on what OG's up to. And now they're finally crossing the river.
Have we jinxed it? Is there a problem here? Soxa going to get ran at, misses on that hook shot to escape. Ends up going down. You can't give him an inch on OG for Team Spirit. We'll have to see if they can keep up this, but of course OG, they've got so much split pushing potential. You see No Tail pushing up top.
Yeah, OG, a team are very capable of just shifting gears suddenly. You know, you think you've kind of figured out their game plan, and something new sort of emerges and evolves as they're taking the game state and adapting to what you're doing. And that's, of course, why they're so hard to beat. So now as Team Spirit, you know, they're trying to adapt, right? They're trying to say, like, okay, now how do we shift from always trying to pull back and then jump on top of OG? How do we become the ones who are actually getting that first jump and making these fights look successful? And, you know, sure, you can do it on your high ground, you can do the horn toss, but you got to find that out in the open map. That's a lot harder to do. It starts with the vision, and they have some great wards down here. Despite losing their Lion, they did get some solid vision, and perhaps that'll be what leads them into some better plays.
No Tail manages to take that tower down on the bottom side. And a butterfly finish now for the Faceless Void. We also saw the refresher done for Toronto Tokyo on the Ember. So massive amounts of damage.
Oh, Mapochka, he had to cancel his TP because there was a leveler sitting there on the ground.
Oof.
He had to drop the clarity.
And
can he actually survive?
He blinked off to the right. Nicely played.
Oh, getting the leveler back. The team needed it though, right? Like, yeah. They're going to miss. They try a hook shot. He's out.
What a play from Mapochka.
I mean, this is a leveler with Empower. You do not want to lose that.
Yeah, you have to get it because they are missing that hero damage. And now
there's no
smoke up afterwards. The pullback, they find No Tail. Gonna turn him in with that impale. Finds the kill.
Soxa, he wants it. He's overclocking.
They're thinking about it. This is a dangerous go with the overclock. I mean, you can see that OG, they want to try and punish this moment where Team Spirit was a little bit separated, but they stuck together and able to dodge the initiation. God, what a close one.
Yeah, they're taking a look now. They don't know exactly who's up on that high ground right now.
They do have a ward back behind by the hard camp, but at least for now, Adoro gonna beat away at this. Sumail goes for the opening. Ava, toss, jump in afterwards, but the force staff, and they get him! Dead for 100 seconds! That's their chrono, that's everything! Well, Collapse is still alive, but he's gonna be forced back again. Goes for the long-range skewer, now looking for more. Mira goes for the Hex, and now trying to go for the TP out, but in the meantime, Toronto Tokyo actually picking off these supports bit by bit. Mapochka will go down as well. So it ends up being a 2-for-1 exchange. And Yauro is just going to need to be a little bit careful on that initiation from Sumail. Too strong.
I mean, they hit double force step on the Meg and the Lion, but it's just not enough to get the save there. You don't really expect how much damage is going to come up. That was almost 1,500 magic damage burst just from the Void Spirit throughout that, right? Like, you think it's going to be the tiny, you know, like, no, surely they can't get through like 4,000 HP-ish. But they did rather quickly.
And that might be all OG needs. Again,
he's sitting on an Obs and Sentry right now for Sumail.
Wait, Hortos again! They got Sumail! They don't have Chrono afterwards, but they might not need it. Mira continuing to control, looking for another round of this. Now, RP gonna get off the mark and collapse! Bolts of Beckett! What in the hell? Sumail has a Ghost Scepter now inside the fountain. I don't know if he bought that or not, but figure of death out! Usually when OG is in the fountain, it's good. Not this time! As they pull him back down again! No Tail dies!
Yeah, you want to give them a moonshot, you can go right with them, all right? Joined at the hip, joined at death.
On again! The Hex is out from the Lion, and another round, another salvo, and Team Spirit will not be denied as they chase for more. Mapochka right on top of Thompson, tries to jump out of there, buying some good time here, and Collapse finally tries to get it.
Good.
Oh my God, Thompson, what? Is he really gonna get out of here? No, they're chasing. They're going. everything for Thompson, but it's not enough.
Don't worry. We got horn toss. We're good. All right. Run it back, production. You know what we want.
Yeah.
No one else die, all right? Everyone else just go away. No more fights here. All right, look, watch this force staff. This force staff is so sick. All right, ready? Oh, turnaround RP. Skewer him into the well. Oh, collapse. Take that play more than Mars.
Unbelievable. And again, the Ghost Scepter trying to keep him alive, but it's just not enough. Just like that, OG now going to have to stare down a very long time without the rest of their heroes, struggling at this moment. In game number 1, Team Spirit testing the champs, and now trying to take this tier 3 tower.
I love this solution of how to get on the enemy side of the map. Just kill them all.
Yeah.
This is great. You know, wondering how do you kill them outside of your base? Well, if they keep coming to your base, well, you just keep killing them there. OG perhaps sensing that they were obviously much stronger, or they just felt like, you know, maybe we're on a bit of a clock, and they feel like it's just with this single unit, tiny as it's starting to feel like for them, that they don't have enough to take this really late, and it is starting to look that way.
And Roche going to be a long spawn this time around. So Team Spirit gonna have to buy some space and time as No Tail continues the split push. This is incredibly difficult to deal with, and Toronto Tokyo the one that's sent to clean it up each and every moment. A smoke up now from OG.
Yeah, Sumail leading the charge here. Of course, still has that Ghost after he bought in the well. Yeah, might come in handy later with how Collapse is playing. Could find himself there once more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Particularly if he ever gets to that refresher, because you got to imagine he's feeling it after that. He's like, you know, I would really love to have 2 of all of those.
Exactly. It's not bad. And again, how many times is it, you know, that, like, thinking about where Sumail was when they were up on that top side, pushing that tier 3 tower, he had Aegis, he had the Moon Shard transferred over, he had all the damage in the world to cleave through those buildings, and it was Collapse. The real carry, put the team on the back.
What's crazy is that right now his skewer is at 6.8 second cooldown, because he's this Octarine and this quickening charm, so it's a very cool solution compared to the refresher, right? Because it's just gonna be online far more often, obviously. Working with those big play potentials.
Well, Team Spirit playing around the Roche pit. They know this is where the fight's going to take place. And since it's such a long timer, they might even have to actually go beforehand. And it looks like that's what they're going to do now. So smoke up, but somebody needs to deal with bottom. And OG continue to put this pressure on. They're doing such a good job of forcing Team Spirit's hand.
Yeah, those big treants are just going to clear out that range rat.
And it's dead. It's gone.
And they're going for the next one. Guys, there's creeps.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Team Spirit
Tokyo, he's trying to get there.
This is some veteran stuff right here. Make the split push play, force Team Spirit to show.
And of course, you have the advantage of the flare, right? So you're just constantly sending that in. You're going to have treants there too, so it's going to be very difficult for Team Spirit to deny any sort of vision around the Roche pit. Meanwhile, they don't have any of those options. There's no helm on this mag, of course, because Collapse has gone for a different build, setting up with the mechanism, so they don't really have a way to just like check the pit for free. Other than just like sending in Toronto Tokyo and hoping he doesn't get vacuumed or something.
It's true. Horn toss. They got him caught. Oh, and Thompson. They pulled him in too. Oh no, not like that. OG now looking for more. Seb got to run away. They buy back on Thompson. Wall down. Yadaro vacuum. Chase. Sumail thought about the rundown, but with the 2 buybacks, Team Spirit will retreat. And with that, Roche will also spawn.
They're going to smoke up here too. Of course, they still have everything. That, you know, these are the cheap picks that you get with Horn Toss. Still holding Chrono, still holding RP.
And that combo of like the Horn Toss with the Lion, and they get him again. Pull him back in, bring him on down. Hookshot, try to salvage it. It's not going to be enough. OG don't have an answer for the mag, and Saksa also gets killed. Unbelievable composure and presence of mind coming from this Team Spirit roster.
BKB too, right? I mean, all that damage was magical. He took 382 physical damage on Tiny.
What? They find him another time, and the Chrono down. Collapse. The absolute madman. Wow.
He is looking for it right now. The bottom lane, sure, there's still creep. Toronto's going to go back and deal with it, but oh, he can't believe it. Says Collapse.
as they chase in. That's going to be melee racks down. Might go for more. I mean, they're dead for forever. The turn now, looking for the tier 4 towers potentially. Our Team Spirit just going to end this game. There's still Sumail, and he is a big, bad, mad Tiny. There, they get him. Collapse. What can't this guy do? Horn toss in. Sumail wants to salvage this, and there's the winner's curse. There's no buyback. There's no help. It's Sumail versus the world, and this time it might be the world that wins as they find the finish. GG called. Team Spirit 1 game away from eliminating OG.
Not only is it a win, but it's the way that they won this game. Team Spirit recognizing that it was a matter of time. It was a matter of patience. They held out. They waited for the big spells. They waited until Collapse became the beast they needed.
A mind sharper than any.
Getting a win.
Well,
Stretch some legs a little bit here.
I think that, you know, obviously so much on the line. There's got to be so much that's running through these players' heads. But particularly for me, when I think about, like, how you keep a team in it throughout these breaks that they're going to have, like trying to get ready for game number 2, I feel like it's going to come down to Laposhka to really, like, settle those nerves and make sure that everybody's feeling good going to that game number 2. God, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's also important to consider how that game started, and maybe it wasn't necessarily always going that well. If you're right, there were definitely a couple problems in terms of, like, okay, we're being stormed. Oh, first couple fights, you know, they went pretty well, but then the map, you know, having a hard time controlling that. You're losing out on net worth, and you're just wondering, like, you know, are they going to get us, guys? Because this Tiny's pretty huge.
It's true. It was that moment to me that I felt like really turned it all around. And again, I'm sure we'll see the highlights for it when we get back to the panel. But the big catch onto Sumail as he was going for the tier 3 towers up on the top side. Horn toss, pull back afterwards. It was absolutely perfect from Collapse. MVP for me for sure. But we'll have to hear what the people on the panel think. So we send it to him.
Thank you very much, Trent and Lyrical. And absolutely, it seemed to be like Spirit was saying, oh, you want to come near our base? Oh, would you like to come in? Well, we've got our friend Magnus here, and he's just going to skewer you to the back of our fountain. That seemed to be the late game strategy for Spirit, and it really, they pulled it off, didn't they, Lizard?
It was that invitation to a very boring friend's house, and he just won't let you go. He just keep on pouring coffee for you. He just doesn't let you leave. That's what Magnus did. That's what Collapse did. He said no. Lyrical put it really well at the closing statement. Man, that was insane performance by him.
It was really good, but it was also his team. Like I think of that top racks fight where they skewered him back. They used their resources so efficiently. Skewer back, they hex him before he lands so that he can't BKB. They used Finger of Death, but they saved Chrono. They saved RP until after he respawns. Like, that was the crucial fight. And eventually, as time goes on and on, they just get too high in net worth, and Tiny isn't quite the same threat by himself.
But we do need to talk about Sumail's Tiny, because at situations where he's 3v1, he seems to be one of those players who never seems to panic and can actually turn the tide of the fight.
He was 5v1, I think, right? Like, there were 5 Team Spirits heroes alive. I think he killed a couple of them. They had to back off. And, nah, he really showed the strength of the hero. I feel like that game had everything, though. The cost was even pointing out to me. One of the times where they went on Yatoro in the jungle, he had skipped his 10 talent. He had 1 point in time dilation. And he lived with, like, only a couple hundred HP. I mean, I don't know the math on it precisely. Like, maybe the regen or the armor kicked in. But it was really close there. And it's, like, those small decision-making that led to these amazing team fights with the Skewer and the 5v1. I mean, I can't... It's a 5v1.
And when you see Notail playing Nature's Prophet, usually in the past, he doesn't die way too many times, even though he's a 5. But in this game, boy, did he have it rough.
I read that. I think he pulled a bottle to Thompson. I'm not too sure if that's correct, because I was on the bus transiting here. But I also saw that he went for Solar Crest into Moonshard. I think he fed Sumail a Moonshard. And OG's like ideology of the game is so cool to watch because they're all about stacking that net worth. Solar Crest, it used to be this auto buy item. It got nerfed a bit. He's still buying it just above net worth. He's like, oh, I need to do a bit more. I'm also going to buy a Moonshard for my carry.
I'm just trying to look at my numbers here because I think it was something like 15-6 in terms of Spirit to OG kills. And yet OG was still ahead in net worth. And I was trying to do the math. So I was like, how the hell are they managing to do this when they're dead half the time?
It's tough, but as long as they can keep farming and they don't lose too many heroes every time that they do get those deaths, it's not that big a deal. Because for one team to get a kill, it usually takes at least 2 heroes, sometimes 3, to kill just one guy. So that's 3 heroes that aren't necessarily farming in that exact moment. So as long as the other heroes on OG are still getting stuff done and getting that net worth to pull towards Sumail, it's fine. And there were so many scary moments in the mid game where you could really see Tiny 3v1ing and he slaps like twice and they're like, nah, we just can't do this. It's way too hard to kill him.
It's just a product of how OG play too, right? When they go for these small skirmishes, especially when they have a farm Darkseer, they're playing it so that their heroes can farm. Like if OG are behind, they're like smoke multiple heroes across the map and send someone else somewhere else to farm. It's never like an all-in move.
And it's also the way their whole lineup is distributed when it comes to farm. You have the Tiny that's able to clear all the Ancients, you have Nature's Prophet that's constantly cutting the backlines, and you have Seb with the Iron Shell. It's very easy for them to shove in lanes and get that farm, but it didn't look like it was very easy to transform all the gold that they gained into solid team fights. Seb, multiple times, he just gets chronoed, instantly dies. I didn't really see the contribution. He went for all the items that are purely utility, the Max and whatnot, Greaves, Pipe, but it didn't feel like him and Saxa had the best game.
With that said, though, I think the restriction is that it's about Magnus being on the other team. And I think OG still targeted the bans correctly. They took out Collapse's heroes. They hit Tidehunter and they hit Mars in the first phase. So, like, that's probably his 3rd hero. He hasn't played it much so far, but they got to use that to basically just pull the Tiny out of position. Like, when you get skewered by the tier 4s, like, how are you supposed to win the fight?
I completely agree. You could even see Saxa hooking in after he's being skewered, so he hooks in while the skewer is happening. But it just isn't enough. They kill both of them.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to comment on Collapse's Magnus because he doesn't play as much as his Meg or Tide. But I think it was Maposhka who did an interview and he was asked to describe Collapse in 1 word and he said patience. And I really like that about him because I remember I saw him go once on No-Tail's Nature's Prophet and he wasn't range to Horn Toss, so he took the time to do the Shockwave into Horn Toss, into Skewer. It's just so methodical and like not panic, despite being against OG on the TI stage.
And he kept on finding him so many times in this game.
I'm really curious to see what OG are going to do with the draft this time around, because we were watching the picks and bans together, myself and Purge here. And it seemed like, okay, right, of course they're going to target Collapse. They're going to take out the Mars straight away. That's obviously the thing you're going to do if you've been watching any of the matches here at TI10. And they removed the Tidehunter. But then they started to focus on the hero pool of Yatoro after that. But the thing is there any point in doing that? Because Yatoro seems to have one of the largest hero pools of anyone who's playing on that stage at the moment.
I think it's really common if you're the team that's expected to win is you take out comfort heroes against teams that are a little bit fresher, because you're like, a lot of times some of these players come up spamming 1, 2, 3 heroes, and you really punish them in tournaments when you make them play their 4th and 5th best tournaments. So I feel like that draft was like a skill check, basically, to say, like, let's take out your best heroes. Are you still going to play as well? Are you going to crumble them to the pressure? And Spirit absolutely didn't that game.
I mean, you can just see that Yatoro was absolutely OP in that match. I also want to draw attention to Toronto, Tokyo's Ember Spirit as well. I think we're so busy looking at Yatoro popping that Chronosphere and just trapping OG in the base. But you know what, I have to confess, I didn't pay enough attention to what Toronto Tokyo was getting done with the Ember Spirit, because he was absolutely on fire in that match. When you look at the numbers, it looked like a pure carry performance from the mid laner.
So to continue on Aui's very nice point about the patience of Collapse, there's a reason.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go.
20 to 115. There's a reason why you can be patient on the offlane. It's because your mid lane is just doing all the heavy work. He's poking constantly, he's giving info, he's initiating with Sleight of Fist chains, and then it's kind of simple for you as a Magnus to realize which target you need to go on, isolate them, horn toss them back into the base.
And absolutely, Spirit's draft were based on that team fight potential. And Purge, you were telling me particularly about the fact that they had clearly planned for those AoE stuns to stack up. So tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the issues with the game going so late is that OG's lineup was did what OG wanted to do, but the fact that they weren't able to just sit Tiny in the front and destroy buildings in like 6 hits, that takes away their win condition. So on the Spirit side, they just had so many good teamfight ultimates. They have Chronosphere, they've got Meg RP, they can fish with skewers as well, and they have Winter's Curse as well to like potentially get those solo kills that happen at various points. It's just harder for OG to win teamfights. So as the game went on longer and longer, the teamfights were going to likely go towards Spirit's advantage. So it was just tough for OG that they got skewered back, because that kind of just like put them on the back foot.
Honestly, though, I'm shocked that OG didn't manage to get a bigger advantage earlier. Like, if you look at their heroes, I saw Seb's Darkseer. It was so high net worth. Whenever you have a Darkseer like that, he should be able to carry the early tempo. I'm not too sure what happened. Like, maybe Team Spirit were just setting up too well for OG and reading all the moves, which is incredibly impressive. But it's honestly not the OG I expect. Like, your Clockwork Darkseer Furion, I feel like the map should be free, especially with the Void Spirit mid.
It was pushed in constantly, and Team Spirit was forced to go back and defend a lot of time in the game. However, it just wasn't good enough. Like, the team fights, like you mentioned, were set up by Team Spirit really well. And I have to say that on the top lane around the tier 1, there was a team fight in which I thought Spirit was completely broken. They're playing this very stable Wyvern with the big ulti. Then you have the Chrono, then you have the RP. But what OG is good at is creating chaos. And they did that. They attacked from all the sides. Nature's Prophet TPing back. But, yep.
Well, our teams are heading on stage again. They are ready to create chaos. You could see Notel backstage. He's having a little groove. Seb is turning to his players and keeping them calm and doing exactly what Seb is known for. But can they take this to a full series? Well, it's OG, and you know what? After you watch this, you'll probably be thinking, yes.
Favorite memory surely has to be my TI8 and 9 finals. It's a big culmination of a lot of hard work. Favorite.
They're trying to bring down Radiant's top tower.
Radiant fortified their structures. Attack the heroes. Dire's top tower needs some friends.
Same as you, Time Hunter.
This battle.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I think they need to run it up harder. Like, I think they should double down on what OG does and play their game. I don't think
Dire's
that game was really a result of them. Like, it shouldn't result in them feeling like they have to do a shake-up or anything.
Well, it does look like our teams do want to get straight into this match. That's
What's
an
this?
interesting one for me
Dire
because we have
fortified
seen
their
teams kind of taking
structures?
their time when they get to the booth. But both of these teams are really keen to get into this fight. And this
Dire's
could be
bottom
OG's
tower
last
is
hurrah
under
at the
attack.
International 10. So don't miss
Are
a moment.
Radiant using echolocation?
Ho! Team versus Team
This will
Spirit. Game 2.
Hello and welcome. The draft panelists back. They took my big table away, but they gave me two wonderful analysts. My name's Amal Plus. I'm here with Lacoste and Effie. You like that first game, Effie?
That was a good.
So you told me earlier that you actually were not one of the analysts that was siding with the OG's draft. Can you explain a bit why?
Yeah, I didn't really get much chance to talk about it, but
Now you do.
yeah. So Team Spirit were one of the teams actually playing this Magnus method of just horn toss skewer as an initiation only, and like getting Aether Lens and things like that months ago, right? So it's something that they're super comfortable with, and I believed in it. I didn't quite think that the game would turn the way it did. But I was very fond of them just for that, right?
I thought coming into this second game, they will address the Magnus issue that they had, but they will go with the same bans. Collapse Mars, collapse Tidehunter, maybe. Let's see if they just first phase this hero. I would not be surprised if they get it for Team Spirit one more time.
Yeah, what do you think they're planning on doing against this Magnus? What would be the traditional Magnus counters we could see here?
I don't know what the counter is to horn toss, as you said, you know, because it's like an instant hook almost that puts you in a tough spot. What they did at the Tier 3 tower when they were defending the base, going for that double skewer, that was just insane. This might be the best Magnus performance I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily the 4 or 5 man RPs, it's just his play, his understanding what needs to be done is what won them the game. Like, just the timing, the itemization, where he needs to be on the map. Everything was like 10 out of 10.
And he played incredibly well throughout this tournament. He's always been one of the standout players on Spirit, but my goodness, did he step it up.
Yeah.
I really have to say. So Magnus counters,
there we go.
I think there's no reason to never not first phase this hero if it's in the pool, especially after the past couple of days and what we've seen the hero is capable of. But I guess traditionally the way to quote-unquote counter it would be to just not to pressure it in lane and to just respect the skewer. Understand that if you're in base versus Magnus, respect the skewer potential, right? And I think OG have the same approach. They're just going to be a bit more mindful of this hero.
Throughout the Dota history, sieging the high ground was always the hardest part. If you don't have enough tower damage, there's always going to be, like, these relocating, repositioning abilities have been high valued. Lately, the toss, the spear, the skewer back. Unfortunately, Pudge not there, one of my favorite heroes, but maybe we'll get to see him. It's always tricky going for the high ground because like one misstep, one misplay could make a whole lot of a difference. If the team trusts you, which OG is known for, they are ready to back up the teammates, they go inside the base, results in 4, even a full team wipe.
So exactly the same two openers from both teams, which means they're confident in how the game went along and how they're going to approach it. OG just seems like they're going to tweak a couple of things in like the overall macro of the game.
Like what? What would you tweak here from the last draft?
So I think laning went really bad for them last game, so maybe just either be more mindful about it or pick stronger laners, especially if you're going to play against a team fight heavy lineup, right? But the thing is what we highlighted before, you just have to be conscious of this hero's ability to turn the game around when you're in his face. And that's something you kind of forget about if you don't play against a new style of a hero as often, but eventually it does sink into the player's mind.
Do you feel like the last game that I mean, the lanes did not go as well as they expected, but the Darkseer, Clockwork, right, MP usually considered pretty solid laners?
Yeah, I mean, they got the job done. These two heroes, Seb was staying at the top of the network, so I think they should be pretty okay with what they've managed to accomplish. But to go back to the previous game with Nature's Prophet, I believe he bought him the bottle, level 1, and also bought a Moonshard later on. So, you know, Sumail asked, you know, or actually, who is it? No-Tail asked how many buffs do you want, and Sumail answers yes, because he just gave him all of them, you know, going for that Solar Crest, buying the Moonshard later on. It's how Dota was played coming into this TI, all the high-level pubs, is how can I buff up my carry? And one true carry was Tiny, who doesn't rely on cooldowns, can be active early on. When I say early on, I mean like post 10, 12, 13-minute mark, when you get your items, when you get the Echo Saber plus Shadow Blade, because you do not want to be as active. You max out your 3 grab, of course, which means that you don't have your combo ready and you're playing for a bit of a later timing.
And if you'll notice something OG tweaked, which is just talking about changing little things here and there, is they banned out the Ember Spirit. So this hero was so potent in the early game last game, in that he rotated so well with the combination of something like Lion, right? And he just got so many kills on side lanes. They were, I think, 14 and 3 at kills, and that's actually not what we expected or predicted on panel. So they put respect on a hero like Ember, who can run into them early and feed off of something like a 5 natures correctly.
So, what are other heroes that can fulfill that role of the Ember Spirit in the mid lane?
Well, typically the other spirit heroes, something like Puck as well, could be really good, and it's a Tokyo specialty.
That is a Toronto specialty. Do you think we could see his Invoker coming into play as well?
We could. We could see Invoker from OG as well, because it's a very good hero. When Winter Wyvern uses his heal, then you have a pretty good setup for the combo. It's a great way to counter-initiate against Magnus RP. Even the Skewer back, and also Lion does not like to play into it.
Yep.
So they do pick up Lion again on Team Spirit, so it's the same exact draft, but I suppose we can talk about individual heroes a little bit more now.
Yeah, just repeat what you said the last time.
Yeah, or just talk about Lion and what he offers. Lion in a draft is really nice, just because he kind of fills the role of hard lockdown on your team, but also it stops the possibility, or it lessens the threat of something like a Storm Spirit or a Void Spirit, right? You don't have to be so concerned about it if you can snag it early in your draft.
Or Lacoste, who predicted the Invoker.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and I like the Night Stalker as a response to the previous game. Like, they had more of like combo that's playing well during the laning stage and then transitions that into the mid game. This time around, Night Stalker, he completely ruins both Wyvern and Lion. Coming into this tournament, I thought Night Stalker is going to be picked. I might be a bit biased here because I'm a huge fan of the hero. I thought he's just going to be picked every single time.
No, I agree. I thought we'd see the Night Stalker a lot more, and the few times that we did see him, he did his job well. And not only does he make it hard for Lion and Wyvern, because Night Stalker is excellent at controlling these squishy supports in the back line, he can also potentially ruin this Magnus's game, because he pops his ulti, he's got this insane vision. He can see the Magnus setting up for something and just blink silence him, right? He's the type of hero is so disruptive.
Does this hero fit the OG playstyle as well, of creating chaos?
It does, for sure. The laning phase isn't ideal, but he can do so much for his team in this game.
And there's the Spirit hero that you were talking about, Effie. Will Void Spirit be very similar to last game, where he fulfills the role of just the ganker whenever there's no cooldowns?
For sure. I mean, if Ember Spirit's banned, this is the next best thing, because, yeah, sure, you can also go for Storm Spirit, but he's a lot easier to deal with than something like a Void or an Ember, just because he's so easily counterable, right? So we'll see Void filling the role of Ember, not as effectively, because we've seen Ember completely pop off just due to how OP his shard and its ability to like buy BKB with something like a Magnus and just be so effective with only one item.
I like how Spirit players, when I say Spirit, Void Spirit and Ember Spirit players decided to go for the shards early on. It's extra 200 damage on a Void Spirit that allows you to get extra ring, which means that you can close the gap or get out of much easier, and also if the game drags out, you get that level 25 talent, the 2-second dissimulate stun. It's insane amount of damage. Also combine that with his level 20 talent, 14% damage amplification. Makes a lot of sense that people are not just waiting for shard to drop from second Roshan, instead just buying it.
For sure, and I think the strongest Void Spirit build is actually just going for Kaya-San's, then Ags, and then Shard. That just seems really potent. But a nice thing about having a Void Spirit is he's a natural Yule's buyer. Like, when you buy Yule's on Ember, it can be good, but it doesn't feel as good as having it on Void Spirit, because it's the setup for his Remnant, right? And it gives him mana, which into his main stat and regen, obviously. But the reason why I bring up Yule's is because when you're playing Night Stalker, this is an item that you need to have against him. You have to Yule's him so your poor little supports can run away, and Magnus isn't going to build it, Wyvern isn't going to build it, and Lion isn't. So Void has a nice little thing he can do for his team here.
Okay. So for the last picks, what pick would you like to see, or what style of pick would you like to see for OG? What are they lacking here, Lacoste?
If it wasn't OG, I would say that Bane would fit pretty nicely, where you can play like position 4 Bane, but knowing OG, they're probably going to go for something more like strength-oriented, team fight-oriented, yeah, and they pick the Earthshaker in the end, so most likely they're going to stick with the roles. Nature's Prophet 5, Tiny position 1, Earthshaker 4, and Night Stalker 3. You want to give this hero farm priority.
And what OG did lack last game was team fight. They didn't have some kind of blink stun. They just had the clockwork, which can function similarly, but not without being able to counter-initiate the same way that an Earthshaker does. So this rounds out a little bit better. The lanes are just not very strong, unfortunately.
One reason why maybe they decided to go for Earthshaker is to stop the skewer horn toss type of a play where you use a Fisher from long range to stop that kind of a play, and also Invoker makes a lot of sense with the Tornado. Go ahead, Effie.
Just Echo Slam is a very effective tool in capturing the Void Spirit, because when you play against Spirit Heroes, you need some kind of instant disable to catch them out, and they don't really have that outside of the Blink Night Stalker Silence, or the toss.
I want to break my role for a second because this is too exciting. For those people that have not watched Team Spirit all season, Team Spirit was the team that innovated the new way of playing Lifestealer, abusing the Infest with a low HP target and trying to like bait out fights as opposed to using the old Infest bomb. This is the only team I saw actually with success in Lifestealer during this DPC. So this is extremely exciting. If there's a team that you want to see Lifestealer on, it is Team Spirit. But now I want to move it to you, Lacoste, and tell me what's the strength of this hero in this lineup?
They have no abilities that go through magic immunity, so that's going to be good. You also have a way of saving him with the Vibrant to split up the fight, so looking like a really good Lifestealer game. What OG needs to do is, like, once your rage is down, it's going to become much easier because OG has so much burst potential coming up from Tiny. He doesn't like to play into Night Stalker. If Night Stalker gets the good jump at, like what we're talking about, you know, Blink Dagger timing, so that's going to take 25-30 minutes. Overall, looks like a good Lifestealer game. I'm going to have to side with OG one more time.
Okay. Effie?
I will believe in my voice Spirit. I think this Lifestealer is going to have a nice time on the lane, and I think that if Toronto Tokyo manages to carry the early game similarly to what he did last game, we could see.
They did a switcheroo. Night Stalker's going to be played by Soxa.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see a similar thing.
Actually, I want to elaborate on that, right? Because it's always, okay, pick the winner. I don't care about that. I want to see what the game plan is for Team Spirit. If you believe in them, what is the win condition here?
So you're just going to have Toronto Tokyo playing and trying to kill the side lanes with his supports similar to last game. You're going to have Collapse empowering Etoro on Lifestealer, and they're just going to look for the same openings, the same plays, and try to outplay in the team fights. Whereas OG have a more run-at-you style. They want to overwhelm them early on, and they do have the security of having Seb on a Blink Initiator this time. So it's going to be a lot easier to take these fights.
Well, the game about to begin, and that means that we're going to be passing to our wonderful casters. It's going to be Trent and Lyrical. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Avo. Yes, we're here. We're on the main stage again for game number 2. OG backs up against the wall. They've been in this situation before, although usually not before the grand finals.
True. Fair point, fair point. Yes, this is a rather early elimination match here for OG. And Sumail, he wants some help here, asking for the crowd's applause.
We'll have to see how this one goes for them. But yeah, the switch up that we're seeing there right at the end, they decide not to go for the position for Earthshaker and instead taking Soxa. No! Right off the bat, Thompson in some trouble, found, and they give the kill to the man, Toronto Tokyo, that's going to be laning against him. What a start for Team Spirit.
Oh, yeah, some further momentum here, and even a decent obs ward here down from OG, so perhaps feeling a little bit safe in that area. And look, they're going to find it collapse. They know.
They definitely seem aware. God, and immediately get it.
Must have been that obs on the high ground there before we came in, probably spotted it out.
Right.
Got an idea that was happening. So yeah, the panel mentioned at the end there, a little bit of a mix-up here. We're going to have the position for Night Stalker, something that used to be far more common with the previous Aghanim Scepter, where you could essentially get this massive amount of vision for the team. But since that removal, we've seen it not really as often. It's definitely more of just like for the sake of the draft and a flex pick, I would say. I feel like the lane could be rough here. Well, even the start to this game is a little bit rough here for Soxa.
Yadoro chases him down, and with that Arctic Burn slow, forcing back that Night Stalker as he did not start with boots. So off to a hot start for Spirit as they are looking to go one game away from moving on, placing much higher in this tournament than potentially a lot of people were expecting from them, and OG certainly on the back foot here. But they're on comfort heroes, a Thompson Invoker, Seb Earthshaker.
They like to be a little underrated too, you know, so
that's true.
that could also help them here being down one game. They're going to be looking for some early damage in this top lane. Seb starting out with the Enchant Totem. Don't have the benefits of the Aftershock, but he's trying to get as much harass on Yatoro as he can. Trying to start burning through this regen, but there's a lot of regen up here. There are 6 tangos, a salve. Yatoro's got himself a couple tangos and a Fairy Fire too. Already starting out with the stick, which is awesome versus the core shaker, by the way.
You love to see that. It's going to be so much regen consistently given there. And of course, similar situation coming from that Invoker who does end up getting one of those denied. Always frustrating to play against these Quelling Blade heroes. Although we'll get out that Cold Snap and get some good pressure on. Pulls back in a little bit, but with the creep wave already passed and next to the tower, won't be any extra harassment there.
Yeah, Lyrical, this isn't a spirit hero.
Yeah.
What is this strange juggler of orbs? The Invoker here, ladies and gentlemen. So, Quaswex Invoker, by far the most common one that you're going to see these days. Likes to get around early on the map with an urn, try and set up some plays. But I would say, largely, at least in my experience of the Invokers at TI so far, falling a little flat on the early rotations, and it feels like they don't actually come online until they really get into that big Aghanim Scepter. Now, with the philosophy of OG, though, I'm kind of expecting this is almost just like an Alacrity hero right now.
Yes. Giving more and more, if possible, to that Tiny from Sumail and pull back. I'm a little bit shocked, I'm going to be honest, that they gave this a collapse as Mira finds that kill onto No-Tail and
nice
finding another one on the opposite side. 3 quick ones for Team Spirit.
Thank you, production, catching both of those at the same time. Very nice stuff here coming out. So again, yeah, I mean, this was similar to last game. The kills were definitely in favor of Team Spirit, but the economy kept moving forward for OG. But we mentioned that OG, they felt like they kind of stalled out a little in that mid-game. Despite having the heroes that seemed like all they want to do was to fight and to kill, but they pushed out the creep waves and they couldn't actually secure those further objectives, particularly the tier 2 line. Tier 2 mid and tier 2 top stood for far too long and really seemed to be the point in which the game became a serious problem for OG. So we'll see if they try and get a little bit more aggressive this game, see if they can combat that, and once they hit those first round of items all around, just start getting a little wild.
Well, for now at least, it has been a very interesting one. What I was going to mention a second ago is I just can't believe that they gave Collapse Magnus again. A lot of confidence being exuded by OG here to give it back after the performance that he had. And you know, think about that last game. He was making those horn toss plays into the skewer back, into like a Yule Scepter, right? Without a BKB or any of those things. He just made it work and had definitely the standout performance I've seen from him so far.
Well, he's definitely still feeling it down in that bottom lane. He's spraying the Seb down. He's throwing out No-Tail's voice line whenever No-Tail comes around him. So surely in a good move after a game like that.
Can they pull it together for the second one, though? It's the big question here. Sumail so far on the Tiny 19-4 versus the 10-3, and then of course we saw Mira getting a good couple of last hits there as well on the line, being Zach by the Nature's Prophet, and just quickly up top it happens.
What do you expect? You know, your Night Stalker and Shaker into a Wyvern and a Lifestealer. Doesn't feel like this is going to go very well for you. I'm sure they're aware of that. Not able to really get any big pull plays either. You know, maybe that's going to start happening here soon. With the boost being available on Soxa. Soxa just sitting in a well like, do I have to?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go mid.
He comes on back there. And that's just to, I guess, pick up the Bounty Rune instead. So goes to get that one. Obviously no bottle refill on Topson. And then we'll try rotating around a bit, make something else happen.
Of course, No-Tail happy about that. Didn't have to buy the bottle, as thank you to our lovely brainstormers at home who told us that he also bought the bottle, which explains why he was so broke in that bottom lane, like literally just regen. So Invoker, not really a bottle hero all too often anymore. So No-Tail can start with the Blightstone and a Magic Stick this time on that Nature's Prophet.
Seb gonna chase back Miposhka a little bit, but hard for him to walk into the creep wave. Look at this, every time he makes that move, he's zoned back by Miposhka. This Winter Wyvern has been really rising in terms of the efficiency that we've seen from a lot of different players, but complete free farm.
Our Night Stalker did go and grab the wave, right?
Yes.
Success, use the boots, brings it back to Seb, and this is the kind of plays they're trying to do to salvage this lane.
0-4 start. Collapse keeps on just spamming out the lanes. No-Tail gonna give as good as he gets.
I find that line from Ava works a lot better once you've actually gotten a kill in the game. It's not as good with a giant goose egg sitting up there next to your hero portraits.
No, you're not wrong, Trent. As they get the tornado into the EMP afterwards and a nice silence rotation. This is that power of that Night Stalker, but is it enough? I don't think so. They do burn through all of Toronto Tokyo's mana and will give a lane a little bit of a better time for this Invoker.
Yeah, Tops are doing great here. Ahead of the Void Spirit.
Obviously,
very happy here.
One of the heroes that he's most comfortable on sort of came into prominence on.
Are you suggesting I can get a Meteor Hammer? Is that no, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. We might be a little bit far past that, guys.
So 6 minutes in, No-Tail going to summon some more trees and focus back Collapse a bit more there. And we can see that taking over in the mid lane, at least for the moment, is going to be as they go on Collapse and Mira. There's nothing here.
This is such a...
and the thing about it,
bad Night Stalker game, dude. Like,
right. The thing about it too is that you're giving so much space from Aposhka to start soaking up levels mid, right? This Winter Wyvern is kind of been left alone, and now you're also walking back home for Toronto Tokyo. So they'll have a pretty farmed Wyvern most likely. Pretty 4.5.
Yeah, if he can actually get there. Looks like Thompson is just holding the line.
Yeah.
Saying no free XP. Get out of here.
So still steady, slow beat down.
I mean, the best part is that there's no Wyvern up top right now, so Seb feels like he can actually like play a little bit more in the wave, right? Looks like 1-2-2 build, actually has some decent tools now. Yadro sitting on 10 charges as well, so Seb is free to just cast some spells. Sox is coming back, but it is level 6 on Yadro, so this is a tough kill. No matter how you slice it.
Gets the rage off. Quick fingers. Knew that he was coming. Lifestealer not going to be punished there at all. Already has the Helm of Iron Will too, as well as the chainmail. So sitting on 16 armor.
Yeah.
Thompson getting body blocked. Poshka.
They tried to set up on him, but Thompson hit a 2-hero tornado as well, so was able to start backing away, and then even with the jump through of the Astral Step, couldn't get the finish.
So not an easy one at all. The damage that you have right now from OG, it feels like these heroes don't really do that much, right? Like the supports don't have that much damage until Nature's Prophet gets level 6. Invoker's kind of just running unlimited bits as well. It's really all in Sumail, who has to obviously keep farming since he's
mid lane. Dropping low here, the silence comes in. Toronto Tokyo able to jump, get sprouted.
Dissimulate, gets that little damage buff. Able to back away from it. And Maposhka in the meantime has a DD. The Remnant used out, they're actually able to get the bottle refill off that.
Nice defense right there. And now Mira coming in.
Has to be careful. Jump through 1-1 with this DD. Toronto Tokyo wants to go to work, but will he be able to get out of there? Dissimulate, jumps in a bolt! What? He turned onto them instead! They thought they were saving Soxa, but they were just dying themselves.
Oh, and they can't believe it. Collapse happily cheering on his allies from the off lane there. It's 6-0 as the supports contributing early here from Team Spirit. Mira Maposhka, a great series so far, and the greed.
Dude, Toronto Tokyo is not one to mess with. This man came here to play on this day.
I mean, he must have been really low there, like 400 HP or something.
Yeah.
Just got blown up, sticking around too long.
7-0 start. This young team, Eastern European, making the most of it. They're going to sneak away that bounty rune. And has the jump away, maybe. Ooh, low on mana. Dissimulate. Has to be careful. Maposhka nearby. They're bringing everybody the echo out, but the cold embrace keeps him alive. The silence afterwards. Toronto Tokyo trying to live, but won't be able to. They bring 4, but that's worth it.
Man, 7-1, but still only a 1,000 gold lead right now for Team Spirit. Sure, it's still early, but you look at those last hits and Sumail just towering above there. It's 70 right now, and a lot of those just straight up in the lane. Having a fabulous start. At the very least, did lose a courier, so that's going to slow down his acceleration for a bit.
And in the meantime, you can see Mira being chased away by these treants, but Maposhka also in the area, able to sidestep that Tornado EMP combo. And also during this time, we saw the Night Stalker head on over to the Dire Ancients and place down one of those Sentry Wards. So it's going to be blocked out continuously. But back towards mid again, the taunt. Soxa silence wearing low. And Toronto Tokyo not able to find any extra follow-up there. Yeah, Sumail's just been AFK farming, hitting a heck of a lot of creeps. Sweet. See, Collapse also getting closer to that mech now.
Nothing phasing Sumail. Allies coming through, enemies, and I'm going to hit some creeps right now. So That part of the mission for OG certainly going well as this lead again just tapers off to pretty much nothing for Team Spirit gold-wise, but surely the comms are feeling really nice for Team Spirit right now. Up 7-1, you know, just won game one. Collapse has just been chilling on that off lane. Getting relative, you know, free farm for a Magnus at least. Sometimes you can have a rough time in the lanes, and now has his friends back here supporting him from the tree line.
Pulls in, RP connect, finger of death, done.
That's a stack.
Mira gets the kill, and you can see that even though you have all these last hits onto Sumail, as far as net worth is concerned, they're starting to catch up on the rest of these cores and hopefully get into those first items for Team Spirit. RP down, smoke up, walk for Sumail, stunned right at the start with Yadro there. He gets the rage off, looking for the chase down. Collapse able to back out and get away.
They still have Curse here.
Oh, have to be careful. Toronto Tokyo showing up. They're going to use the Winner's Curse just to set everything up. The pullback with the Aether Remnant, but the walk forward. Have they bitten off more than they can chew on the side of Team Spirit, looking for the rundown. The fissure connects onto both of them. The jump through, Sumail down solo. Mira, one more hit, it's not enough. They chase him, looking for a follow-up. Soxa onto Toronto Tokyo. Another cold embrace. They don't have much left in the tank at all. Echo is out afterwards. The Yule Scepter into Collapse. The kill happened. Mapochka getting ran down. The Lifestealer invested in and looked for a kill but couldn't find it.
They spent so much trying to bring down Sumail. I can't believe he's actually still around here, not able to get all the way home yet.
Mapochka, cold embrace, now the turn onto Thompson, wanting to finish him off. Run bit by bit with this armlet, getting active. It's Tornado. The last second, Mira needs to find the kill. Mira, no. Just off the skin of his teeth, he gets out of there. And Thompson tries to run, but Collapse moving in from downtown. Can he find the angle? Does he get lucky with it? They can try and chase this, but instead spot Soxa. Yadro, the run through, shows himself, and there's going to be the eventual finish. Just mayhem in the bottom lane.
Well, there's a lot to break down there, and where do we even begin? I mean, the initial attempts on Sumail obviously failing. They spent so much, and I think Team Spirit probably just fortunate not to lose even more, considering how many of their resources they burned there. And oh yeah, we got ourselves a, you know, and also, oh man, Mira at the end there when Invoker's running up the stairs and he didn't go for the spike because he wanted to give the kill over, and he was holding it. It was sitting there, and then he tried it long range, but he missed. Yeah, you're gonna regret that one a little bit, I'm sure.
That's painful. The Sunstrike came in there, comboed together with the Nature's Wrath, and a quick pick on to the Lion. Keeping vision with those treants that whole time as well. But still less than 1,000 gold separating these two teams. And the fact that they were able to keep Yadro alive and has now the Empower going to finish through these Ancients. Mapochka.
Oh, meanwhile up top, yep.
Jumped on. Fissure, Enchant Totem, and gonna fall. Winter's Curse. Maybe a chance. Oh, the Sunstrike caught him right at the end. Well played by Thompson.
Eliminating any chance of escape there. They go right back to the tower and take that down. Thompson is pushing out this bottom wave, though. Any chance for a catch would be a tough one. Fast first. Oh, nicely done.
Now tries to move in there, and a couple more punches. Finger of death. Thompson tries to get out, but the rage will be enough.
To take the plunge.
So oh, wait a minute. Are they going for more now? Toronto Tokyo with the Haster and Tempt and Fate.
Yeah, he's under a ward right now, so has to be careful. Seb very willing to drop an Echo on him, I'm sure.
Non-stop action, 16 kills, 14 minutes.
The tree's actually bringing a wave over to Seb.
Yeah.
You know, in case he wants some farm here, that's nice. No-Tail always helping out his allies.
That Blink Dagger being done really opens up Seb's game, but obviously the Force Staff would make it that much better. The defensive abilities against that Lifestealer needs to stay up close and personal. The damage. And Collapse in the meantime, with the mechanism done, gives them some more of this team fight potential, but also wanting to finish off that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, and you saw how scrappy that fight was, right? But now, you look what we got from Thompson. He's gone for that Rod of Atos and the potential Gleipnir later on. So not needing that urn to like just try and go for the cold snap plays, it really wants to ensure that you don't have the big playmaking potential. He wants to put some pressure on the itemization of Collapse to actually find that BKB or maybe a Dispel of some sort, right?
Right.
You don't want to give him that same freedom that he just had last game.
It is interesting, though, because it feels like as, well, the Atos comes out. This isn't bad here. Tries to get him in. The mech, though, keeps him alive. And with Maposhka nearby, they really don't have an opening.
Yeah, and the Arctic burn onto Seb, preventing the blink.
Looking forward, Seb. He has a big one. The Echo comes out, catches on a boat, but the Hex is there to turn it in the Winter's Curse. Skewers them both together, tries to find it. RP, and now, do they have enough with the Empower? The big amount of damage coming out onto Seb. It was looking good for a moment, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Do they have anything else left in the tank? The chase down, another great impale onto Sumail, catching him now. They get the Sprout, but they've got him caught in there with them. Yadaro chases, right clicks, dead, done. OG, where you at?
Almost got no tail there at the end too, but much like game one, it's these early plays in the tier 1 tower that end up felling a couple OG heroes. They did get the tower in the end thanks to the trusty catapult.
But no, Lifestealer got the deny on it last second.
True.
Well played. And now?
Oh, Thompson.
Going for more. Seb, gotta be careful there. Looking down south. They tried to find an opening there on the no-tail, and they'll get him. Maposhka ends up going down. Again, this absolute chaos there. Mira misses the stun. Seb jumps forward, gets the kill. Team Spirit, got to be careful with this movement now. Soxa wants to chase this. Another great fidger there, going to connect the Atos afterwards, but the Yule Scepter keeps him alive for the moment. Seb tries to hit the timing, but it's not quite there. And now with the Lifestealer back in front, he finds the kill on a no-tail, and then TP's out right in front of him.
No tools through that one here, of course, if you don't get that initial silence off, especially, right? Like, that's one thing he has to watch for sure versus the Night Stalker. Just make sure he doesn't miss out on that rage TP, but nice play there. Yadaro will finish out that SNY2, so ready to continue the battling and doesn't have to worry as much about scaling better into the late game thanks to the Empower on his squad. And now, well, Magnus, he's feeling personally empowered here with that Blink Dagger.
And you're now starting to see a situation too with why this position for Night Stalker has kind of fallen out of favor, right? Like, you don't have a great farming mechanism, but he needs to get into that Blink Dagger and just doesn't have the gold. Aether Remnant gonna connect, and when you're out farming that far forward, you can get punished.
I do think he plays the, oh, well.
Atos, Winter's Curse. Turns it around now. Thompson out in no man's land and gets punished as well. Team Spirit constantly right on top of the ball.
You know, the second half of that last game, we had to talk about collapse a lot, but I will say, I do think that Lion is a fantastic hero versus OG in the way they like to play, right? They love these tricky little plays. They love to tease, to taunt, and to sort of break you with the outskill, but it's really hard to outskill Hex Earth Spike.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little cheeky, a little bit fresh, and then one single stun, you're getting chained all the way to death.
Well, and I think that there's something too about like that horn toss into Earth Spike, right? It allows you to find kills without using RP that you otherwise would have to use that big ultimate for, and then you can save that for the big fights instead. It's just so strong if you can have, you know, a combo that play together as well as Collapse and Mira have been.
Yeah, for sure. And Mira, of course, last game putting a lot of emphasis on getting that Blink Dagger despite being a little bit behind with the map pressure. Mira, again here, just farming up neutrals. Gonna get that Blink Dagger at a pretty decent time, especially with that mid wave coming in through here too. I imagine they'll probably try and offer that over to him. And OG sort of falling into a similar playstyle as last game where things are just trying to be stacked on Sumail, but this game he's just not nearly at the same pace.
It really feels like there's a, you know, they have to play a little bit more passively, at least until these items come online. And Team Spirit, they're not going to give him that opportunity. They're keeping this pressure on. Smoke up. OG, do they realize what's coming? They're actually going to open up on the Yadaro, but the rest of the team coming in time to try and save their carry. Is it going to be quick enough though? They jump in! Oh, the RP! But he already died! And now the Winter's Curse afterwards. Sox in some trouble. Toronto, Tokyo, and they are all in pretty deep at this point. If they can maybe find a couple quick kills, it could be good. Thompson down low, dead. Rooted afterwards. Maposhka, Mira, right on top of Sumail. Jump forward, Seb, trying to save this. He's done it so many times to them, but can they do it again? Sumail walking away ever so slowly, bit by bit, trying to escape. But Mira, he won't let him go. The jump forward, this Lion, and Collapse doing absolutely everything for Team Spirit here. As 4 go down, Seb tries to get away, but will it end up happening? No. The Yule Scepter lift up into the Remnant. Toronto, Tokyo having a coming out party, absolutely owning on this Void Spirit.
Oh, sounds good to say and looks good to watch. Toronto, Tokyo, easy game. Is that a voice line? I don't think that was a voice line.
Wait, what? Oh my God! Observer, press enter and go up. This man just dropped it right in front of him on the main stage of TI, an elimination match. Talk about
he's feeling
it. A moment.
Oh, this will be that turning point video if they lose this game. I'll tell you that much. Because
oh my God!
You know, you don't want to give any incentive to OG, but a great start to that fight. That entire fight was without Yadaro because they got the silence right away. And I want to say that Soxa, like, it's a very tough game for this position for a Night Stalker. He's doing a fantastic job of playing really well with the ulti because that's his only tool, right? He has to fly in there. He has to get that silence. He's providing the vision for these full team fights. And despite the fight starting so well, they still lose like almost everyone.
It's unbelievable. Team Spirit coming in. This team, they were started in the group stages 0-4 and then proceeded to just not lose that many games. They've been winning everything. You can see here as we continue on.
Almost everyone,
Tokyo.
Everyone, as you can obviously see from
there
the screen. Replays exposing. Gleipnir now done. That's like, did you just do that? You just type that in there? Oh my.
That was the moment for the Kyle chat wheel. You talking to me? You talking to me? Didn't do it.
True,
didn't hear it.
True, after all that. Well, the chat wheel's fun. A little silent sometimes.
Still less than 1,000 gold leads separating these two teams, 10-22. And Team Spirit, the ones in command.
Toronto Tokyo jumping in, not out of it.
Walks in, finds Thompson. Seb tries to salvage it, force snap out, not enough. And now looking towards No Tail, they're gonna pull in this Nature's Prophet. Just running them ragged on OG. Spirit won't be denied.
They're just making these picks look so easy. 100-0. They're falling. And now Soxa, this is with the ulti. He's under the obs, though.
Another round of it. They just keep dying, one after the other. Team Spirit claiming those kills.
And Toronto Tokyo moving under an obs here from Seb. I don't think he's going to try and go for anything too crazy. Knows that this Void Spirit's there, but some quick man, 2,000 damage, level 14 Shaker. Maybe with the Prophet, he's got a chance with the Invoker here too. I think they're gonna try it. Let's see, and we'll see what's said here, of course.
Looking to try and get something. And Toronto Tokyo, recognizing the danger, backs off. He knew. And in the meantime, you look at this. Team Spirit gonna try and claim the Aegis.
Oh, the instant, the Sunstrike, and then the TV right away from Thompson. He wants to be here. Doesn't want this one going for free. Tornado now.
Starting the fight off. Obviously has the rage afterwards, but Roche down. Aegis claimed.
Collapse, lucky enough to get the damage there from the meatball either.
Right.
Yeah, maybe just hoping he could force a snatch.
Team Spirit gonna smoke.
Try and get the bounty for OG.
Infested Lifestealer inside Collapse. Doesn't have the shard yet.
Oh, and Collapse this time too, eh? Yeah, Toronto Tokyo, of course, setting up for the easy one last time onto Thompson.
Follow the couriers. They're gonna take you to the heroes.
Oh, I love that.
Right on down the way. No Tail is there, but they jump and find the back line, able to catch onto Sumail. That's a pretty good target. Hex afterwards. Yadaro eaten up this Tiny as Sumail eventually falls.
Oh, and they were so close to just running into No Tail too. That would have been so much better for OG if he was the one to fall, but grabbing the King instead. He has fallen and now Collapse. Well, they might just find No Tail anyway.
Even gonna drop the hard
This is for the laning stage. This is from all the voice lines and the sprays.
Team Spirit putting on a performance here. Showing everything. And did he find him again? Collapse runs into Seb.
Your screen. Seb.
What? Just like that. They find themselves, Seb, try and give him a high five. And find the kill again.
I think he was changing his chat wheel binds. He got caught in the trees there. Snagged by Team Spirit, just finding everything right now. And now able to pressure with his Aegis. Still 3.5 minutes left for Staff for Collapse. Now we just gotta wait for that shard to come out and he'll be back in full force once more here.
Look at this. I mean, this is the thing. You know, you start the laning stage off even, but kill after kill after kill, and off the back of Collapse, this mag that OG gave to them in game number 2, they felt like they had an answer, and so far it hasn't looked like it.
All right, there are no doubt incredible tools in these team fights for both teams, though. We have a total of 5 Blink Daggers on the map now.
Yes.
So everyone's, you know, lots of opportunities to make your play here from both squads. Most importantly, Soxa, I think, able to be more valuable in these team fights by trying to get that silence and getting right on top of Yatoro.
This could be incredibly important for them. And they need Sumail there too. Like, they really don't have the damage otherwise.
Yeah, and I mean, there is the Force Staff as well from Collapse, as we mentioned, so that's a great counter to Soxa, just because he just needs that little smidge of I'm not silenced, right? For Yatoro, and he can get the rage off.
Walk in. They can start heading down bottom to pressure this tier 2 tower.
I love the use of this Aegis, just closing in on the map. They're using this gem. They're moving through, looking for every bit of vision, every sentry, every obs. Just taking them down one by one. Team Spirit want to take away the map from OG. But you gotta imagine they're feeling, I would think a little nervous, starting to shake a little. Like, it feels like you're doing so well, right? This is OG elimination.
That's true. Do you start to feel the nerves?
Question yourself more when you're winning, right? When you're losing, you're looking for solutions because you have a problem. You see the issue in a game like this, like you're ahead and you're just trying to keep that momentum going forward. And you're scared a little bit sometimes in terms of like what can they do to come back.
All right, and we've seen OG come back from bigger deficits than this before, even in the grand finals. And they've got heroes that can make the plays. Will it happen, though? Looks for the silence, not going to get him. Toronto Tokyo playing that one safe, and down bottom, they got a lifestealer that OG need to deal with. Throws out that tornado, gets the lift up, the pullback, skewer, catch, Thompson in trouble. On the other side, they're also battling it out with Seb. The chase is there, and Thompson going to fall. Mirror jumps in, gets the finger of death finish. Collapse off to the side. Maposhka not going to be found. They get the skewer, or rather the shockwave into the kill, and they force out that buyback. No-Tail's going to pressure top.
Yeah, he's got no other choice. He's just going up there. Gonna perhaps send in some treants here.
Fissure, the only thing that can slow down this lifestealer right now. We'll get kicked by that tornado now afterwards. But again, that pressure, it's going to be mounted top. We've seen this before where Nature's Prophet can force back heroes, but will they happen now?
They're so weak in comparison though right now. Like,
it's true.
He's got the Solar Crest, he's got a couple of the big ones, but yeah, I mean, there's Yatoro just hitting your base. 30 seconds still left here.
Yeah, and they still have Glyph available on Team Spirit if they need to use it. Yatoro hits it, range racks down, takes the first, backs away with the team.
Structures can't be breached.
I could.
God, what a match. What a series. Team Spirit came out here punching the champs in the mouth.
I will say he got more damage down than I expected.
Yeah.
He's in the back end and no one's TPing. They don't want to break the formation, so they're just going to sack the tier 3. Now, tier 3 is not as valuable as they used to be, but look, the fight's happening. This is why they don't want to break it up.
Catches there. Stun afterwards. Pull back in. Dead. Done. Looking for
Collapse. He blinked in.
Collapse. This guy's a little bit crazy. Thompson, Sumail looking for an opening there. They spot one. Avalanche walk forward. Mech, but the save is out. And now Sumail BKB'd. It's going to wear off soon. Has to back out of there as Yatoro chases the winner's curse. It's going to connect. And afterwards, Thompson, he just has to disrupt it, but no, he can't get there in time. The jumping, Seb tries to salvage it. Isn't enough. The evil scepter lift up. Mira goes down, but they pull him back in for more. Yatoro too strong on this lifestealer. 3 dead, no buyback. Is this going to be the end for OG? As Soxa also to fall. Everybody's gone. And look at this Team Spirit going in for more. Oh, Yatoro, you tempted fate. You thinking about going into the fountain? They regain some focus, but with no buybacks, can they just try and end it?
It's tempting. There's tier 2s in the other lanes.
Could this be the downfall? Team Spirit, they can sense an end right now. A chance to move forward, get top 6 in this tournament, and you've got 25 seconds with no Sumail.
They're not hesitating.
Trying to end this one. Team Spirit looking to go all together. There are racks that are being taken up on the top side of the map, but they've got their eyes on the prize. They want this agent to sprout. The walk inside of it. Oh my God, he's just going for the spider legs through. They get the vision. Oh gee, there's nobody left alive. It's only No-Tail. There's nothing left. And GG is called. Team Spirit end the game, taking down down OG. What a Cinderella story here on the main stage.
Absolutely incredible team spirit. And look at them, they're cold.
From going 0-4 at the beginning of groups to now getting top 6 for this young squad. What a magical, magical journey for them. And OG, it just wasn't meant to be this year.
And it's just early, of course, for Team Spirit. It's important that they're not getting...
Least, and Team Spirit, an incredibly impressive performance, coming in as one of the dark horses in this tournament. They made it work here in this game number 2, and like you said, absolutely stone cold walking out of the booth. Toronto Tokyo throwing out that easy game in the midst of it as well. He was one of the standout performances for sure.
Yeah, he really was. And of course, OG, you know, a team that maybe not the highest expectations coming in just because of like how the season works and everything, but everyone knows that they're a threat. Yeah. There's no doubt, right? You know how they can perform in pretty much any situation. And with...
Wow, I think this volcano's collapsing.
Wow, fascinating.
do about that? You had
We had to find his to can it just said try that should be a priority in the morning to sort out the pin number for that person. To kind of sort out the thing for that person. So we all went to our various landings and did what we had to do.
we each went to our various landings and were carrying out our assigned and routine tasks.
Yeah, routine tasks.
Okay.
When so later on during the day, I think around 10 or so, one of the officers mixed Mac, those Macintosh is her name.
Miss.
Yeah, they just say officer or was a Macintosh or Miss Macintosh, whichever one. Like the Macintosh MacBook.
Okay, I'm not sure that's spelled actually. Hang on, I'll put Macintosh.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Said I think the CM or the SO wanted to see me in the office. I think the SO CM wanted to see me in the office. In the office. So I went in there. And the Mr. Springett guy, or Officer Springer, or SO Springett, or whatever, because he's senior officer, so SO Springett, not Mr. Springett.
He was also there.
Yeah, he was there. They were both sitting on the two tables in the
Okay.
Listen, he now said this Mr. Springett guy now told me, asked me why haven't the movements been done?
So that is movements of scheduled movements of certain prisoners to certain cells. And
Yes,
stuff like that.
those movement of prisoners around the relocation of prisoners, basically.
Okay, yeah.
That's what the relocation of prisoners. So I said, because I'm not the movement I'm not the movement officer. He said, yes I am. I said, no I'm not. You didn't assign me the movement officer. You didn't assign you didn't assign me the movement officer for the day. He said he did. That's because I wasn't listening.
Right.
During the
So go back one sentence. He said yes you are, and you said
no, back and forth. I said
yeah.
I'm not the movement officer. I said yes you are. I said no I'm not. I said yes you are. It's because you don't listen in the morning briefings. That's why you didn't hear me.
he said it with such certainty it made me begin to doubt my own recollection.
Yes.
happening?
Now I'm going to say it's because I don't
So I said, he said, yes you are, it's because you didn't listen during the morning briefing. He said, yes you are, it's because you didn't listen during the morning briefing.
No, you don't listen.
Ah, okay.
And morning briefings, that's why you didn't hear me.
Okay, that's actually significantly different. During morning briefings, plural. So I'm going to emphasise the word plural there. Have you ever been accused of not listening during morning briefings before?
No. Wait. Yeah. Okay. No. Yep. I don't listen to morning briefings. I always have. I think it started. I always. I don't listen to morning briefings. That's why I didn't hear him. I always have an excuse. I always have an excuse for everything. Except some other things, but these three main things, yeah.
Right.
This one's here, same.
Okay, hold on.
Are the ones that I read. I can't really. I don't want to make up stuff.
No, I understand that. So say that bit again. Yes, you are, because you don't listen during morning briefings, plural. That is.
I always have an excuse for everything. And I should step up my I should step up as a force officer. If not, that if it's going to escalate.
Step up as a
force officer. That's the landing force where I work.
Okay.
D4, like D4 officer. Or if not, he's going to he'll have to escalate it to a CM.
Okay, yeah, this is clearly going in a particular direction, I can see.
He did say other things in between, but I can't actually recall everything.
No.
These three ones were the ones that I really remember, because they're the ones that really like annoyed me the most, if you want to call it that.
Okay. Right, so, okay, he said it was such certainty that maybe we can get my recollection. He did say other things in between that I can't remember exactly, but that is the gist of the discussion, and those are the things he said that I remember strongly because they really annoyed me. Okay.
So he continued with he continued saying like I now because of me not doing the job, the CM is having to do she not turned to the CM and said she's having to do the work that I'm meant to do, which because she was on the system trying to sort out locations.
Okay.
So he says now because of I've not moved them, she's having to do the helping me out to do the this and that. He now went on to tell me the cells that were available and where or just try to create the cells and I said okay, I should go and carry on with the movements. Yeah, that's what I should do. That there are two officers on my landing, so I should just go and do it. That once them done, the movement. So that kind of like rounding up conversation thing. So it's like okay, after I said all the other bits and pieces, and I stood there like that, boiling rage. And I said, okay, this is the thing. These are the cells that made all these cells available for me. So I should move. I should go ahead and move. Go ahead and move this. Do the movement.
Okay, so I think because you haven't done your job, the CM is now having to. quickly try to...
No, like do the job that I meant doing, like that sort of thing. That's having to do what I meant to do.
Okay. Making me so angry.
Now.
Sorry?
You're behaving like you're possessed.
I just kind of making me feel angry. That's why.
No matter that angry, don't behave like that. That's some kind of.
I know. It's kind of in my head. I was just imagining mashing his face in. That's why. It should not be appropriate. Okay, so because you haven't done your job, the team is now having to do the job I was meant to do. Okay.
Went ahead and told me cells and what movements need to be done, and blah blah. Just basically about the movements. What movements need to be done, and yeah, I should go ahead and do it. So I went out. So I went out and started to try and do the movement. But then I'm thinking to myself, I know for a fact that he didn't tell me this. I pay attention very well in briefings. I hear everything. No, I'm telling my end. I know for a fact I wasn't told to be a movement today. So while going around doing the movement, I now saw some of the officers I work with. I went around and asked one of them. So I asked him, Miss McIntosh, did you hear I want to give the lowdown because it's all not be the same thing. I walked up to Miss McIntosh while I was doing the movement. He said, did you hear Mr. Springer assign me a movement officer during the briefing? She said she didn't hear, but she just zoned out basically. So she didn't hear anything. Because she saw that she wasn't listening. I said, okay. And I did the same thing to another officer.
I think Macintosh has Applewhite isn't okay, does it? Who else did you ask?
So after I asked her, I asked one other officer again. Oh, no, is it the first one you're talking about? You've done the
I've done the first Miss McIntosh, yeah.
I heard the other one is Korean, I think. Just write Korean. I can always correct her name later. Like Miss KU something.
KURIAN?
Well, anything. Because I can't. No, I don't know her name is, but I know it's cool. Some Korean. So I saw her and I asked her, you were in the briefing this morning, weren't you? Did you hear Mr. Springett ask me, tell me to be that I was the movement officer for the day? She said no, but what she heard was him talking about getting that pin number of
Pin number for the prisoners.
yeah, basic. That's what she was emphasizing, that to get that one as first thing of the day. I said great, thank you. And I did the same thing for another officer. I don't know his name, so we'll just call him XXX.
Yeah.
For now. And he said no, he didn't hear anything as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So
okay, let me restart up. So as I was going about and came into contact with other officers, I asked them whether they had heard me being told the movements officer. I asked Miss McIntosh, and she said that no, she hadn't heard, but she'd zoned out anyway. But said, I'm going to put it in her watch. McIntosh, and she said that no, I didn't hear, but I zoned out anyway.
Yeah.
Miss Curian, not exact spelling needs to be corrected. If she'd heard me being told to be the movements officer for the day, and she said no, I just heard about the PIN number for the prisoner so you could make phone calls.
Yeah.
I also asked another officer whose name I'm not sure of, and he said he didn't remember anything like me being told to be the movements officer either.
Okay. So after hearing that, I knew I wasn't hinting, because even by my gut, I know that was just proof that no one else heard him say that.
Yeah.
So I went back to the CM knowing that he had lied. I went back to the CM saying, the CM in the office, and I asked to speak to her and told her that he lied in there.
So you went back, you spoke to the CM?
I went to the CM now, not the SO, because I went above him, right? Because she was in the office. I said, concerning the issue, I said concerning the issue of me not being movement officer, he didn't assign me the movement officer for the day. That was a lie. He didn't assign me that. And he can't speak to me the way he spoke to me in there. That was just a blatant lie. And telling me I don't listen in meetings was very, I feel very hurtful and disrespectful. Because how can you prove that? I don't engage with that sort of thing. So I literally told her that, and saying that I always have an excuse for everything. And then she said, okay, this seems like there's... I said, this is really annoying me now and everything, because that was a lie. I was going to speak with the diversity lady even, but I came to talk to her first, basically. So I went and just really complained, basically, that he lied in there because he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me I was the movement officer for the day. And I've already asked like three officers out there. No one heard him say that. So for him to come and blame me is really hurting me right now. And I was going to speak with the diversity lady concerning it, but I decided to come and speak to her first, because she said, okay. And I said, how does she want? Should I call him in, or do I want to speak with him first? And then if it doesn't go well, as I want, then I tell her again so she can take it up. I told her I was going to speak with him first before so she said okay, so I left.
Okay, I haven't got all of that. So
that's the gist.
Okay, go over the last bit again.
Basically, I was complaining to her.
Okay.
That's all. That's the main thing. Basically, complaining. I tell him that he lied in there, and I wasn't able to. I've confirmed with 2 or 3 other officers, and none of them can say they heard him say I was the movement officer. So I asked her. I told her that I basically complained to her, basically, because all these tiny details I'm putting. That's what's making you not being able to write.
VG Gaming's turn to ban.
I believe it. I'm here in the draft panel with Lacoste and Effie once again. We're here to analyze the first draft between VG Gaming and T1. So, expectations for what we could see for VG Gaming here, Lacoste.
VG Gaming, I want to see Ori pop off. I want to see Ori put in a spot where he is able to dominate the matchup, because he had a couple of rough ones, especially against Virtus Pro. What are you laughing at? You see Magnus are like, all right, T1, they have this one in the bag.
That's Master Cuckoo's Magnus as well, and you know the pillar of the team. Very often one of the most veteran players. That's scary.
Cuckoo has been impressive on the Magnus. I remember one play where he grabs 3 heroes, I believe, from Fog. He saw one, but the rest of the team was also backing him up, and Horn toss and 3 heroes skewer back into RP. He's also one of the players that really grew on me throughout Season 1 and Season 2, being able to interview him as well. So he's just like, they're like a family, you know. All of them are able to bond together, seeing them happy when they win. I think this is very important, and they coming into this matchup, you know, it's just a bunch of friends who love to play Dota and enjoy doing it together.
Typically, the way that VG have drafted throughout groups is that they first phase Old Eleven's hero fights. When they played against Evil Geniuses the other day, they actually opted to not do that and just secure the 2 strong supports that they want. And last pick 11's. This is.
Oh, he's been picked. Finally, my Crimson Witness is worth something. I mean, sorry, yes.
I believe yes. This is the first Omni Night pick of the tournament. And
why, by the way? Why is he so bad? Can you just explain it quickly?
He's not necessarily bad, but when he did have his time in the sun, it was because Heavenly Grace just got that buff where it gave him more strength, and it was an undispellable spell, right? It got changed to be dispellable, which doesn't really make it as strong as it used to be, especially in first phase. And Sven got nerfed as well, so Omni Knight rose to popularity of Sven, and it kind of fell together too. But I want to talk about Rubik more than I want to talk about Omni Knight.
Okay, sure. Talk about Rubik.
I was wondering when we would see a Rubik versus a Magnus, because there have been so many Magnuses and not that many Rubiks. And just traditionally, Rubik is, I wouldn't particularly call him a counter, but he's capable of stealing RP and like instantly lifting Magnus with telekinesis if he has vision on him and he blinks in. Right, so it's cool to see this come into play. But so far, I'm looking at the support duo, and it doesn't. Together they don't look that strong, right? But then I look at this Magnus plus Lina.
I messaged that after,
and I say,
but I told you that I
wow.
was going to.
This looks super strong. You have to go back to your Magnus against Rubik point, because Magnus these days, and from what we've seen today, also they tend to go for the Horn toss at one point, into skewer, the instant Rubik lift could break out that play you were going for, and also the cast range that you build naturally into Etherland, so might be one of the ways to actually counter the Magnus, because we've seen the previous one where OG tried to potentially counter it with the Earthshaker Fisher. It wasn't really as effective as we expected, but yeah.
Imagine stealing, skewer, and then, okay, so your method of doing it is telekinesis to skewer back, except your skewer is much longer range than Magnus's.
Yeah.
So if we could see something like that happen this game, that would be really cool.
Also faster cast point even, so there's a lot of tracks. For people that have not been watching for a while, like what Omni Heavenly Grace, what is this, right? If you're an old Dota 1 player, you remember Repel, right? Now it's Heavenly Grace, of course, gives you step resistance, strength as well, and a bit of regen, I believe. Yes. And much like the old Repel, now it's dispellable for some reason, because Ice Frog really hates this poor hero. So that's why we're very surprised that we're seeing this on the main stage again.
I don't think Omni Knight is a counter to Magnus because his playstyle changed. It's not about I'm going to go in RP and then he will pop his ulti, everyone's immune to damage. This time around, Magnus is more about repositioning the key hero into like LSA, into Hex. There is still Lion available for T1. This hero has set them up for so many successes throughout both seasons, even Major and also ESL 1 event where like I remember the Snapfire plus Lion combination when Carl was not having a good time. They also managed to like get the game back on track with the 2 supports.
So something this Omni does have going for him at the moment is that there's just, they didn't pick a Shadow Demon or any kind of natural dispel, they just went straight for the Monkey King. And I'm going to assume it's a mid Lina just because I don't feel like support Lina is that strong at the moment.
Just write that.
That's why they go for the Leshrac. If you pair up Omni and Leshrac, it makes him very hard to kill, which is something that Leshrac enjoys, right? Because he's one of the highest DPS heroes in the game, but he needs to run in to be able to do that. So he's always been best paired with the security of something like an Omni Knight or an Oracle. And yeah, still no. Oh, there's the Enchantress.
I was wondering if they're going to go for like Oracle or Enchantress type of a hero. They will go with Enchantress, so it makes a lot of sense. We saw Team Secret having a lot of success yesterday with the hero. One of the heroes you don't like to play into Leshrac. I think in general Leshrac's one of the better heroes against Enchantress because she becomes super tanky early on, especially if you don't have any kind of like big spell damage or a lot of attack speeds. And also, they pick Ursa into Enchantress, so your overpower is dispellable, which could be a bit tricky and slow you down.
But if you're dispelling overpower, then I guess a good Omni Knight can wait and cast the Heavenly Grace later and just, you know, play around it a little bit. But the Enchantress does look very strong here. Also, the Leshrac has a pretty good lane versus Lina mid, so I suppose it justifies the pick this early on. But what I'm looking at from Vici's draft is actually not their typical late game style at all, right? This is a run at you. We're going to take your towers and try to get the first couple of Roches and just overpower you. And we have not seen Vici do that.
No, we have not. Ursa versus Monkey King, also a matchup Lacoste loves talking about.
Oh, yes. We don't know if this is going to be a position 1 Monkey. It looks like it because it's paired up with the Magnus, which is the combination that I really love. You come online so quickly. Most of the time it's just the Echo Saber build where you become so tanky, double hit. You're also able to clear the Ancients with, but Ursa one of the few heroes that can stand inside the Wukong's command and actually fight you. This time around, Vici Gaming, they will be playing the Radiant, which means you have Ursa. Once the tier 1 towers or safe lane tower falls, you can push like the top part of the map and threaten the Roshan, because where you're going to be playing is the top part of the map, which means that you're always going to be around the Roche. There is like one fight that breaks out, you kill 1 or 2 heroes, allows Ursa plus Leshrac, which is ton of damage to kill the Roshan. So T1 will need to be very careful about it. Enchantress can be that hero that scouts things out inside the pit with one of her creeps, so this is what they will need to do.
And this would have been a really good Doom game, but T1 banned it out. Also, interestingly enough, Vici banned Faceless Void, so they don't actually think it's the carry Monkey King.
Yeah. Because, as Lacoste says, you can always flex it out, and if this matchup is bad, just go for a better core-to-core. And if that's the case, Lacoste, who will be seeing against this Ursa? What kind of carry do you want?
T1 to pick? I still feel like this, should be a position 1 Monkey. Sometimes what we see from the bans is they ban a carry hero that they don't like to play into, and then they play, and they cover some of the weaknesses of the draft.
Something Vici lack right now is a proper way to take a fight, because yes, you will have your Leshrac running in, but you do need some kind of Jenkins.
You know, felt really
You
the
need some kind
lies.
of blink
They
stun,
let that
and they
lie in
ban
my
out
face, and that's the way
Demon
you make me
Earthshaker,
doubt
so they're
myself
going to
to
need some
that
kind
point.
of tanky
That I'm
offlaner
thinking,
who
they
can
just
take
make
these
you
fights
feel
for them.
totally useless.
There is still Mars left in the pool,
With
but
the way you
he
spoke
isn't
to me
that
like
synergistic with the heroes that
And
they
all
have
those
at the
kind of
moment.
words, because I can't remember the whole thing. I just felt completely confused anyway, so I came back in.
He is, I believe. Yeah, and the Ursa Lycan's a combo we've seen before.
I
It is
ate,
an
I
old
did it
11 0
eventually,
pool.
but there's no way you can't even, normally you go there 12
You think that is a
like
decent
around
Lycan game? I know he's not great against Monkey King characters.
Yeah, so as we said, you know, they covered the weaknesses of the draft, so they decided to go with the Faceless Void and Shadow Demon, so that's position 1 and 4. Another way of dispelling things, Shadow Demon has a built-in dispel, also one of the heroes that kind of wound Ursa because you can put him down in the disruption and also slow him, which is not dispellable, so I really like what they did. I don't think they would go for Shadow Demon in this situation. I would love them to get like a position 4 that can fight, maybe something like, I mean, Lion's still available, right? Do you?
No, I just wanted to say, because you brought up Lycan, the thing that made their Lycan so successful versus Evil Geniuses is that when he ran his units at the Skywrath Mage, he instantly died, right? But if you run your units at Enchantress, they're max move speed, but they don't have max attack speed or anything like that. It's not like you're going to clear these backlines out instantly. And if it does end up being a support Monkey King, he's just going to be in the trees, and I hope it isn't, right? So. And if they do have this last pick for their 4 hero, I don't think it'll be a Lycan.
Oh, it's gonna be a Razor instead.
So it is.
That's the carrier Razor.
Okay, so Razor is very good versus Ursa for obvious reasons, but to those at home who don't know, Razor can just use Static Link on Ursa and drain all of his damage, and Ursa's a melee carry, so he doesn't necessarily have a means to disengage. Also, Omni Knight and Rivik are not natural Force Staff builders, but they're going to have to go to that if they're going to play versus Razor.
That's a very good point. Could we get shot on Rubik to fulfill that role of a Force Staff?
Eventually, maybe that would do well. Thinking about the offlaners that can lane against Razor, there aren't many, because yesterday we saw Magnus was like the great pick. This time around T1 already has the hero. It's very hard, and that was the EG series that I'm talking about. Sometimes it feels really hard because most of the offlaners and what Vici wants is something strength that can like get the jump, right? Because they don't have a way to start a fight. You know, Ursa running in, possibly Leshrac running in with the Omni Knight's Heavenly Grace.
About that time, not.
It's a tough one. I'd say they're in a spot where I don't see the hero that could go like, wow, yeah, this is it. He's gonna have a hard time. So they might need to play for like, you know, sack the off lane, but still get some kind of initiation.
So a lane in the game or in contention right now.
Yeah, maybe like a Legion commander, because I really love 11's positioning whenever he's playing. It's still not a, you know, good it's a Razor, but you gotta have something. At least you have a spear to like push Razor back.
Yes, I wanted to say that Mars has become an obvious pick here because we see the Razor carry, and that's the only thing left in the pool that can be the blink initiator, right? Elsie is just too defensive and doesn't really help with them running in. But they do pick it out. He runs out the draft pretty much. Like, he can clear the trees of Monkey King, which is a bonus, so he can just knock him down, and it seems like a fine pick. I'm just concerned about VG Gaming's ability to outscale or outgreed T1.
For you, Lacoste, tell me this. She's worried. Tell me the strengths of.
I don't like that they also picked 2 range cores with the Empower. I would prefer if it's something melee, so that's a big downside of their lineup. With this Mars, I think Vici Gaming that they have, I think I misread the situation with Mars being available. So yeah, I like that, and also threatening the Roche kill, choosing where you want to fight, resetting multiple times with Omni Knight and Ursa, like they like to go in and out of the fights. So yeah, I'm slightly favoring Vici Gaming.
Do you think that the strengths of the template that you talked about T1 are still true?
Sure, but Vici Gaming also has no cooldowns. They can keep fighting all the time. There's Mars Arena and Omni Knight's ulti, that's it.
I didn't say T1 would play tempo, I said Vici would.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. As we're getting into game number 1, we're going to get the coach interview that we usually do with Frankie. She is standing by with T1's coach, Mark.
That is very disrespectful. 2 things that hurt me: the fact that you lied, one, and then spoke to me in that very tone, telling me I don't listen in meetings, and things that was very disrespectful.
Prepare for battle.
That is not the way you talk to basically.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Sunshine with Cinder in here. Vici versus T1. Best of 3, Cinder Man. Are you ready to see Omni Knight?
Yes.
It's been about 2 months since he's been nerfed, and everybody forgot he existed until he was first 2 picked.
Yeah, so...
Tell me why.
Yeah, so what's interesting about this is that, you know, there was some speculation about, okay, what's going to happen to Omni Knight when with the nerf that came in. Obviously, the biggest nerf for Omni Knight was the fact that Heavenly Grace can be dispelled. Used to be an insanely powerful ability. It is still a hard dispel. It still gives all the bonuses from before, but now you can itemize against it. You see for T1 in this game, they have Enchant, for example, that could remove it. But yeah, why is it first 2? Good question. Maybe Vici Gaming see it as a counter to Magnus because of the hard dispel, which, you know, it's definitely very good. But yeah, I also see some potential pitfalls for the hero. Like Omni Knight, sometimes when played as a 5, which will be the case this game for DY, ends up not contributing as much in lane as you would like. And then if you're playing against heroes that just run at you, it can be very difficult to fight back. Heroes with silences, heroes with burst, heroes with magic damage as well. And I feel like T1 have a pretty good mix of everything. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see Omni. I thought it was a shame if the hero just disappeared entirely off that one nerf.
Yeah, no doubt. As we can see, an early split earth here from Ori in the mid lane. Seen a lot of Lesh versus Lina, but to refresh everybody's memory, Cinder, how do you like this matchup for respective sides here?
I think it's slightly Lina favored, but Leshrac is one of the heroes that fares the best. We need to keep in mind Lina wins almost every lane right now, so if you can somewhat break even, I would consider that almost a win in a way. So Ori should be having an okay time here. Early on, however, Carl is managing to double wave him into the tower, more or less, so should cost some CS there for Ori unless he has really good last hitting. And Carl even finding denies too, so off to a great start in mid. Ori has had some... For a player that had a reputation in previous TIs of being a stellar laner, this has not been Ori's best event from a laning perspective, and we're seeing here that Carl is just dwarfing him so far in this game, 6-4 against 2-0.
Yeah, still very early, and of course, Ori has bounced back in a lot of these games regardless. We'll see how this ends up transpiring for him, but I mean, you haven't even talked about the lineups yet overall. We see Magnus, again, this seems, it seems to be the hero of the tournament, which originally thought it would be Elder Titan. Tiny has had his time in the sun as well, but it seems like Magnus is getting the better of Tiny in a lot of these engagements. We saw in the last series skewers into Fountain, reminiscing of the old punch hook a little bit there.
Oh, Cuckoo is actually almost killing Poyo here.
Yep. As we see first blood, all right, old 11 here. Yeah, taken out by 23 Savage on the position 1 Razor. So picking Razor again, I mean, obviously in lane against any melee hero is going to be pretty successful, and then late game, it feels like more of a anti-hero or anti-carry against the Ursa, since it is melee as well as Poyo, taking so much damage, has to force out the Fairy Fire here just to survive. So getting punished pretty early in the laning stage here.
Omni Knight does not fare well in this lane. You're going to be hard-pressed to help Ursa with anything more than a Purification. The Heavenly Grace can be dispelled by Enchantress, so Cuckoo will have a total free time down here, and that's bad news if you're playing Ursa against a melee hero that you can't even pressure him, but I just don't see it right now for their lane. Maybe with some more levels. There's like the double whammy even with Enchant, right? You can also purge off Overpower, so yeah, gotta be really wise with how you cast your spells for Vici Gaming in that bottom lane. Pressure top again, Zephyr almost getting the Jingu stacks.
Yep, of course, seeing that position for Monkey King, which again, one of the big heroes of the tournament as well. I mean, I guess the biggest difference with him and Magnus is we've seen him position 1, so he has a lot more flexibility. And we've seen mid Magnus before this tournament, not so much in the last month or so, but interested to see like what hero flexibility they'll be going for, because as the tournaments typically progress, it becomes narrower and narrower in scope. Yeah, but considering how flexible heroes are now versus even 2 years ago, expecting that to perhaps change a little bit here.
I will say one of the things about Magnus that makes him so incredible is that almost no matter what role you play him in, Horn Toss is just proving to be the shard of the game right now. It is incredible.
I do pay a lot of attention.
Honestly, it feels like RP is kind of a luxury at this point.
Yeah,
Torrent is the real RP. Oh, good damage on the DY. Gets
the
the skewer.
Shockwave into skewer. DY, TP's away to safety. Oh, okay, never mind. Impetus, just enough damage there.
Gets sent to safety.
True.
He'll be back to safety.
The fact that he used the TP is very sad for Vici because he has to do the old walk of shame.
Good old big bad news. Oh my god, Ori is getting owned.
Yeah,
I just realized.
9-3 to 24 and 14.
If you're new to Dota, this is not a slight win. I said it's slightly Lina favored.
Is that a Gaben level win?
That is a very stompy performance so far from Carl.
What about the comeback potential from Lesh? Because typically you want to be the one pushing the wave and doing the damage to the tower. Okay, they're going to trade stuns here, but the tomato coming in from afar. See DY, forcing back Carl, but doesn't really offer that much or any harassment because he is an Omni Knight after all.
So in terms of
Zephyr, yeah, it's going to get pinned to the tree and brought down. So Vici Gaming getting their first kill of this series.
In terms of comeback potential for the Leshrac, the way you usually get that is by farming some camps in the jungle with Pulse Nova. The problem is Lina has found 14 denies, so Carl is 3/4 of a level ahead, and once he hits level 6, any rotation from Enchantress with a creep, or even without, just with an enchant, should be enough to set up a kill on the Lesh for Lina. Even going to get a bottle refill here brought in from Zephyr.
Yeah, Carl absolutely crushing right now. We'll see if he's able to actually snowball this. I mean, we've seen some great performances in laning stage, and it kind of tapers off because they don't end up getting that kind of little extra.
Poyoyo bottom.
Poyoyo again, getting the shockwave applied. I mean, look at his CS, but he's at 20-2 versus the 22-7 of 23 Savage's Razor. But that is a Razor. He's not really that great of a farmer. I mean, neither are really. As there's the Heavenly Grace applied to Poyoyo.
And Whitemon is going for that rotation mid now, so is pinging out. He wants to go for Lash. He has the boots on Ench.
And the old Wild Wing Ripper.
So Ori knows that this is coming and this rotation from Whitemon will not be successful, but if nothing else, Ori is not farming the wave right now. Carl will get the rune as well. Illusion bottom whenever he wants. And Whitemon gonna start pressuring POW. Zephyr actually cutting in behind as well.
Yeah, now they're gonna clear the trees a bit here. DY showing himself Laguna Blade, and down goes the Omni Knight, only level 3. So setting himself up there to just get killed right off the bat. But as long as it's not their mid hero, then perhaps they'll be fine with that.
This is still looking really bad for Vici. 2 minutes in, 6 minutes in, sorry, it is 2K.
2K already, yeah.
You're losing the damage to the tower as well. 6, almost, you're not fully losing it here, but it's going to be pretty damn close, so any move later will get it done. Oh, actually, wait, that's an enchanted creep, not a normal melee creep, so a lot tankier, but they will still hold. Yeah. This is all T1 right now. One of the biggest leads we've seen in the whole tournament, minute 7. Winning all 3 lanes, almost getting mid tower. Yeah. They have a strong scaling lineup with some of the strongest heroes of the tournament, Magnus and Lina. It is...
Yeah, we're going to need Ori trying to catch up in the jungle here. Nice telekinesis onto Whitemon. Will the Pulse Nova be enough? It looks like it will. Wait, yep. Just in range for that last tick of damage as the Wild Wing Ripper doing some damage in turn. So, very least for Vici Gaming. Their mid laner starting to get back into the fray of things a bit, but again, it's really about Carl right now. Has only found the, actually it was an assist. He didn't actually get the kill on the Omni Knight.
He gets the mid tower there. 11 tried to TP in for the deny, but got stunned immediately on arrival, and the creep wave got the tower. So
another bottle refill for Carl. He's getting everything that he wants right now.
Absolutely. I mean, he's over 1,000 net worth ahead, or exactly 1,000. No, more than 1,000 ahead.
Just going to provide procs for Zephyr.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for the Jingu, my friend. As Poyoyo. From Vici Gaming's perspective, nothing. Thank you, Cinder, for the great commentary as always. What's the plan here? Obviously, Blink Dagger is what I would assume you want on Old 11, but he has not gotten the greatest of farm this game.
It's still better than Ori's, though. That's honestly my biggest concern. I know I'm harping on it quite a bit, but Leshrac needs a comeback in this game, so I like the smoke from Vici. Yeah, you got to get Dagger on Mars. You need some way of setting up fights so you can start snowballing a bit with the lineup you've picked. I think it's more tempo reliant. Whitemon on here will break the smoke.
Taking the gank here. As Poyoyo trying to get credit for this kill, and he'll do so.
Five heroes down here killing a measly ENG.
Yep. Oh, wait.
Maybe they get
Mars Arena, Spear, sets it up onto Cuckoo. TP is coming in. Purification doing a lot of damage. RP not going to go off in time. Maybe for the best, honestly, from T1's perspective, that did not go off.
Yeah, I don't think that would have really led to anything good. So, I think you're right about that. They're losing a couple of kills, but keep in mind, from an efficiency standpoint, Vici Gaming are not farming 2 lanes for that full minute that they're making moves bottom, whereas Razor and Lina are just going to town on creeps. Carl gonna get what looks to be a 9-minute 30 boots of travel here with the next wave. For comparison, Leshrac sitting on brown boots and 400 gold on the way to a first item Yules he's hovering right now. And you gotta wonder, from Vici again, I understand they make this 5-man rotation bottom because they're a little bit desperate to find fights. Their lineup needs to play fast. I don't know if they can just sit back and farm a dagger on Mars so that, okay, now we can make a move finally because we have a reliable catch.
You're just going to be down by even more than 3k
exactly.
at
that point. You drafted in a way that puts you under pressure inherently, and if your lanes go badly, if you play a snowball lineup and you lose all 3 lanes, times are tough. You know, I don't think Vici Gaming are going to win this.
Not to harp on the Omni Knight pick either, but the fact that you're behind, Omni Knight's not really going to help you get back in most cases.
He helps like a sustain, but not set up. Exactly. He doesn't make plays.
Like that. And then
11.
Whitemon is going to find Old 11 here. Cuckoo with the shockwave. Old 11 might be resigned to his death, but Ori comes in with that Pulse Nova, doing quite a bit of damage, but the RP does come out. Laguna Blade not enough to kill Old 11. Dies shortly after the balance strike onto Ori, now completely out of mana. Shockwave back into the fray. This is going to be a 1-for-1, or 2-for-0 as T1 just continuing their dominance in this early game.
Wait, which one was it? Was it 1-for-1 or 2-for-0?
Depends on, it's a 2-for-0.
Okay. Depends on what?
It's an exchange of 0-for-0.
What?
I don't know.
0-for-0.
Cinderin,
pleasure doing business with you.
Just move on, okay?
How does that interaction work? How do you trade nothing with another person?
Well,
is there even
stealing? That's something.
Well, then they have to steal it back, or it's nothing.
Well, you got to figure that out for yourself. Don't get that.
Does not compute.
Yeah, runtime error for Cinderin. It's okay.
That's fine.
Sometimes things don't make sense.
5k lead. Surprisingly enough, good old Statsman Gaben only gives them 62% off this.
Okay.
So does believe in the Vici Gaming comeback in quite a lot of games. This is a monumental lead for a Magnus lineup, minute 10 usually, but maybe it's the potential teamfight prowess of the Radiant lineup once the right items come out that give them a decent amount of win probability here still. So all eyes for me are on Ursa as well as the Mars Dagger. You need to get a good timing on the Omni Knight Heavenly Grace onto the Ursa so that he can go and find kills. He needs the Diffusal Blade that he's working on. Still far away though.
Yeah.
And the Mag Dagger to set them up. So maybe we see them do a rotation top, however. They are starting to move some heroes up toward that area to begin a siege once
Honestly,
again.
it feels like BKB for T1 is almost a game ender in a lot of ways. There's not much you can do from
it is very good.
Like their big setup is the Mars Arena, because like, look at Ursa's perspective here. Razor is a terrible matchup late game. Razor's just so fast he can just walk around and static link you. And Lina's super fast as well. So really the Mars Arena is the big setup, but once BKBs come online, it's going to be really hard for Vici from a draft perspective.
Dire have the spyglass at hand.
You can see PYW and company in the triangle, trying to get Poyoyo back on track. 4th in net worth right now, but top of his team.
I love Rubik Tree Dance. It looks so goofy. I'm sorry. He looks like he never jumped in his life.
Get a highlight of that one, Cinder.
I can relate to that. I'm not a very athletic person. This is how I would imagine myself tree dancing.
Is under pressure.
I don't know. That's true. I feel like Clockwork doing that would make more sense for you, but that's just me.
Yeah, that isn't just you.
Maybe not.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Carl's got his boots of travel, working on the BKB now. And I mean, you talked about the fact that Empower doesn't necessarily have to be for a melee hero, especially with Lina's attack speed.
Magnus has definitely evolved from a hero now that was picked primarily to empower a melee carry to now being a utility hero with catch, and then the empower is the icing on top, right? Like, you can pick melee range carries like Razor and Lina because empower still gives you the damage, and the main aspect of Magnus for the most part in the mid-late game is horn toss as well as, you know, occasional RP. power not necessary for the hero to
The
feel
fact that
impactful.
Empower is more effective on yourself as well allows you to get some of that farm that's needed for the mobility. And smoke comes up from Vici. They were thinking about going for Roche, but have changed their mind here. Poyoyo going to show himself. 23 Savage in the vicinity as well. 23 Savage has the Falcon Blade going for BKB.
He is very tanky.
He has a refresher queued up after BKB. That's pretty fast.
He knows what he wants.
Absolutely.
He's so tanky though. 2k health. Minute 14 on Razor. He has about twice the health of Ursa for comparison. So an exceptionally hard kill for Vici Gaming to get. And if they want that tower, they got to get through this guy. So he's just posturing aggressively up here. Plasma building out the waves. And ultimately Vici Gaming just called the play off. Like they don't see any potential move right now. It's very concerning. Old 11 at least for them close to the blink now. 300 to go. Maybe that can set something up.
And PYW has his queued up as well, so they're going to have double blink not too far away. And from Poyoyo's perspective, Diffusal Blade still kind of a ways away. Still basically the recipe to go from here.
Yep.
His farm has not been particularly good. And he's not exactly a farming hero either, because once you get the Diffusal, obviously you can get Roche anytime, but it's all about getting the kills for Ursa.
The good news for Poyoyo is that PYW stole in power, so at the very least he's gonna...
Oh, that's handy. Okay.
He's gonna have a little bit of help here with finishing up side of
Laguna Blade. DY's dead.
Enough for you.
Dire's middle tower is drowning.
Cuckoo and Carl now in the bot lane. They probably will go for this tier 1 bottom. As you can see the win probability here. T1 off to an amazing start in today's lower bracket game.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Do you remember that trivia question I asked you?
Oh my god, here we go.
Yesterday or 2 days ago about which hero has the same abilities that they've had the whole time in Dota?
Yes. Oh yeah, we got a lot of tweets about who that actually was.
I believe there's a couple, but from my perspective, there's one hero in this game, I think.
I guess Leshrac.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I think Lina did not always have Fiery Soul, but apart from that, the kit is very, very similar.
Yeah.
And then it's also about like how do you define what's changed, right? Is Lightning Storm the same ability now that it has a slow? It didn't used to, but like in essence, it's the same hero, which honestly is a testament to some really cool hero design, right? Like a lot of the heroes have been rethought and reworked a little bit and changed skills, but some of the very, very old core heroes are still the same. Leshrac, honestly, one of my favorite hero designs of all time, and it's never been changed. So, very, very cool hero. You would imagine that as Dota develops, a spell like Diabolic Edict would, you know, perhaps get reworked,
It did change damage types.
It changed damage type. If you go over damage type changes and everything, I think 0 heroes are the same anymore.
Yeah, most likely.
And it's very close to being the same.
Except for the hidden gambler that's in the file, Cinderin.
Right. Let me see if I can find another example. Maybe Juggernaut is also the same. Did he always have
Omni Slash is... It does a different type of damage now.
Right.
It used to be a set amount every time. Set amount based off of... Yeah.
Set amount of hits with bonus damage.
It is the same idea, though. No, that's true. Anyway, back to the game. Vici Gaming obviously took Roshan. That's their big advantage. That the one silver lining of this game is they do have Ursa to be able to do that. But what can they do with this Aegis in this time frame while being this behind? They do have the double blink daggers that we alluded to, so Old 11 and PYW kind of ready to go here, I would assume.
I think the play call here is you need a blink arena set up with a spear onto ideally Lina, but just BKB, so that one's hard to accomplish. So I guess second best target is Razor. He has BKB, so that's hard to accomplish. So that leaves the third best target to probably be Magnus.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
But more than anything, I think you need to group your heroes up a little bit if you wanna start taking some buildings. We're 17 minutes in. Leshrac has not taken a tier 1 tower. As a matter of fact, the best one he's got is half in mid. Oh, actually, they're a little bit ahead now bottom, but don't know if they're going to be able to finish that off. So,
yeah, I mean, that mostly comes from the level disadvantage that he had in lane. Just
23 Savage.
UIW. Oh, Old 11. I mean, he did force out the BKB, which didn't look like it was actually needed, but still, not the initiation you want if you're a Vici fan.
It's something. At least to force a BKB, right? Like, it's better than sitting back and just letting T1 do whatever they want. It's a lineup that is inherently relatively greedy. I think T1 are still super happy with what they managed to accomplish, and all of it really, the majority of what they've managed to do in this game happened in the first 5 minutes, right? It's just been set up for everything, and now VG Gaming are like, screw it, we're gonna go for a big play. Gonna bring all 5 heroes top. The Shrek has a bit to go though. Old 11.
Yeah, Cuckoo getting caught out. The spear into the trees, but he's gonna be left to his own devices. Zephyr gets up the Wukong's command anytime. Just soloing up Puyoyo. Meanwhile, they're gonna be able to take out the Mars pretty quickly here, but here comes Ori, almost out of mana. Carl pops a BKB, dodging the splitter. As a result, Cuckoo gets off the RP just at the last moment. Ori gets bursted down by the right clicks of his counterpart Carl in that mid lane, and Ursa looks to be next. That's first life down. T1 has only lost Magnus right now. Puyoyo wants to try to take somebody with them to the grave, but the LSA will shut that door. So 3 for 1, T1 advantage again.
If we do get a replay on that, pay attention to where Leshrac is when the fight breaks out. They get the lift, they get the spear, but Ursa's in front of the tier 1 when they spear the Magnus below the tree line, and Leshrac wasn't even there. It's like, I'm not sure what VG Gaming were expecting to accomplish with that move without bringing their main damage dealer. They will get a spear mid now.
Arena, this could be a really good pick for VG. 23 Savage pops that BKB and will live as a result. So they force out the second charge.
So essentially VG Gaming with that push, they opted to go for the tower because Razor didn't have BKB. You're going to see it here, right? So you get the spear in the bottom, but Ursa's caught in the top area of the map. And Leshrac still wasn't connected yet. They will go on Whitemon in live though.
Yep, he's healing up quite a bit.
They got his
Is he actually going to live through this? All right, the spear into the tree again. Stolen Plasma Field Splitter. Goodbye. Takes them a while, but they'll take it.
All right. It is something, but still, no tower. I don't know what the stats are for this tournament for a team that has Leshrac to not have a tower at 20 minutes, but it's got to be... I feel like you never see this. It's just been total domination from T1.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't get the mid tower, which we have seen from
at least get it
safely. Don't get up to a good start, but yeah, the top lane specifically for Vici, typically you see like the trade, right, in a lot of cases, but just not up to that good start that Vici Gaming has been accustomed to in this tournament for the most part.
Middle tower is under attack.
So from T1's perspective, 23 Savage, obviously he's had that BKB for a while. We'll be going for Halberd, so changes it up a bit. Not going straight for the refresher. But I actually love players that queue up like 10 items ahead of time, just so they don't forget, you know, what item to go for.
Where am I?
Where am I indeed?
Okay, trivia time.
Oh boy.
Is there? No, there's no trivia. That's a dead Mars.
Trivia. Will Mars die? Yes. He gets off the arena. I mean, it's still relatively low cooldown.
Okay,
so.
well. All right.
Does buy a little bit of time for Vici to make their way here, Cinderman. I know you're really excited to do this trivia. We're gonna wait. Telekinesis, BKB by Carl. Trying to turn this around now. Zephyr getting way too close.
That was a bit naive, I think. I don't know if he was just making sure to bail Carl out of trouble there by going in. Yeah. If that was the plan, at least it worked. But yeah, maybe he also had no trees to jump on. Look at this tree line in the right-hand side of the map, bottom right. All of it is just gone from the arena of blood.
Yeah, that's
just no trees.
That's actually quite massive. A lot of deep force. Timbersaw would be really happy about that one.
Yeah. All right, Shannon. It's trivia time.
Okay.
You know my favorite trivia for this tournament so far has been, what is the name of neutral item's passive abilities?
Yeah.
What is it for good old Horsey?
Tumbler toy?
Yeah.
What's the active call?
Yes.
Nay.
That would be a great name.
I know. I think of good names.
Okay, what if I tell you that it's very simple and it's exactly what it does?
Bounce.
Vault.
Vault? Okay.
It's called Vault.
That makes sense with horses as well. You see the skewer onto PYW. Okay, he gets one of his own, but only going to delay the inevitable here.
All of Rubik's funny animations are in this game. When he's skewering, he's literally just surfing.
We're just missing a Bat Rider.
It's like he's lagging. It's just like going in a straight line with a thousand
I was a little confused that there might be some lag there, but luckily for us, not to be. 23 Savage not wanting to give up the first tower.
Up here, standing there again.
All right, there's the arena. Whitemon stuck inside with the Pulse Nova from the side as well. Looks like he'll finally go down. Takes a while though. 23 Savage getting up pathetically on Puyoyo. We see the RP onto 2 from Cuckoo. Shockwave to fall. Beautiful balance strike onto 3. And let's say to follow. T1. Unbelievable synergy here. Triple kill for Carl. Old 11 the last remaining member for VG Gaming, but not for long. Just absolute god-tier layering, Cinderin. That was nice.
Zephyr with the BM Yules as well, just for fun. Maybe he was trying to set up for Savage to get the kill.
And guess what? They defended their tier 1 tower still.
Again.
At 24 minutes, Cinderin. We see the replay here.
Okay, so this spear missing, it's not that big of a tragedy. I think, you know, Whitemon dies 2 seconds earlier if it hits, but they can't effectively get anything onto Savage. And as soon as he links up the Ursa this fight, Poyoyo has no damage and that Boundless. Just beautiful, right?
Oh, that was sick.
Wonderful follow-up to Cuckoo.
So absolutely filthy play. Yep. See the Guardian Angel come out a little bit too late. Obviously was just stun locked the entire time. But
all DY can do is smile. I first faced Omni Knight, and that's the face of someone who
I misclicked Omni Knight. LSA onto 23 Savage. Can they burst him down? Poyoyo is gonna get Yules. And as a result, 23 Savage will live. So good attempt from Vici, but I mean, it seems like Ursa's bane, the bane of his existence, is Yules.
Yeah, it is a great item against him. Also, Yules is one of the only items in the... But with it being... It's just a great counter to Enrage. Just Yule him right away, buy yourself the time.
They're coming back in. Is T1 trying to build on a 10k lead. All 11 jumps in. BKB by Carl. Poyoyo and company stuck inside the arena, trying to right-click down 23 Savage. Gets off the static link, though, and my goodness. Ori just melts every single way as Poyoyo looks to be next. And T1 just absolute domination. That's a full team wipe with the buyback coming out from the Rubik. But PYW, all he can do is try to push out these lanes just a little bit. And T1, I mean, Roche won't be up for another minute. It's a little bit unlucky on the timings here.
Yeah.
Because denying that would obviously be big against any Ursa lineup in general.
There will be a chance for VG Gaming to find a fight there, but again, VG Gaming haven't won a fight all game. They're trying their best to set something up, but they're just too far behind. Both 23 Savage and Carl are so absurdly tanky. This is a 3k health Razor with 13 armor. Belina has 2.3, BKB Shiva. What damage do you have on Radiant? Like, how do you kill these heroes? I don't know. But what I do know, Shannon, is that I have another trivia question.
God. Hold your horses, Cinder, and PYW's dying. All right, go ahead.
What is the name of the active of Arcane Ring?
Arcane. Oh, I used to know this one actually. Is it a dumb one?
No, it is very much what it does.
Okay, mana refresh.
That's not even correct grammar. Try again.
That doesn't always stop the tool.
It has a verb in it.
Cinderin, why are you doing this to me?
It's an active.
Are you trying to embarrass me on live Twitch?
I would never do that.
Okay.
Never. It's called replenish mana.
Okay.
So
I mean, refresh mana is not that wrong.
You said mana refresh. Like you were some sort of open sesame. Like trying to chant the ring into working.
Well, we already talked about this. English zero language for me is there's the Yule setup. Zephyr. He's got the Boundless Strike and an easy kill for T1 again.
All right, I was wrong.
Well, Ori does buy his BKB before he dies, I believe, so doesn't really lose much gold there.
That's true. Something. Roche is up here, though, for T1 if they're so inclined. Their heroes aren't exactly the best for killing Roche. They have a medallion on Ench, which helps, but Razor... with Lina in the fountain, you probably don't have enough damage. Oh, Carl just got himself a Scotty. Wonderful.
He is an absolute beast. Look at the 27 minutes in the game. Look at his items. That is sickening. Yo-Yo in the mid lane. See T1 trying to play with him a bit, but you still have to fear the bear. This is a hero that, if given just a little bit of time, can burst anybody down despite being so far down in net worth.
Smoke on smoke action. This is VG Gaming's last chance in the game. If they lose this fight, they're going to lose.
Yo-Yo smoke gets popped here. Heavenly Grace applied, going on top of the Enchantress, but they still can't burst him down. Yo-Yo has to pop that BKB, gets the enrage off. The RP comes afterward. Yo-Yo finally will get one kill, but it's just on the Enchantress. And you see the Wukong's command on the downside. Ursa dies, binds back into the game. Zephyr will be bursted down as well. So it's a 2-for-1 with the buyback onto Ursa. The stolen RP by PYW. Do they have enough damage to actually clean this up? VG Gaming finally winning a fight. 23 Savage is dead. Triple kill for Ori of all heroes. That is is exactly what they needed. And into the Roche pit, Vici goes.
Yeah, so Ursa does have to buy back for that, but that is a huge win for Vici Gaming. And the key part of this whole situation, Kuku's RP on the Ursa, honestly, in my opinion, felt unnecessary. He was fully drained by the Razor. You're going to see the replay here. So watch how Poyo goes in. They try to get the ENG burst down. It doesn't work. And here comes 23 Savage with the static link. So Poyo's fighting potential is almost non-existent. They RP into the Enrage. He still gets to do a little bit more damage before he ultimately does die to the Laguna Blade. But you gave Rubik that RP by setting it up in this way. And Vici Gaming are going to capitalize on that big time, pulling back about 4K of the lead. 69% win chance now for T1, down from, what's that, about 90, I think. 91 just a moment ago.
Yeah, and that, I mean, again, looking at the net worth for the heroes themselves, you can see that, that Carl is so far ahead of everyone.
Honestly, though, Rubik is going to have another RP if Vici Gaming set this up well. He has a 1 minute cooldown on it. Spell Steal is lasting for another 2.5, I want to say, roughly. So they have a window of opportunity of 90 seconds where their team fight is so much better than it has been for the rest of the game just with that steal in hand. So it looks like they're very eager to squeeze as much out of this as they can, getting their first couple of towers in addition to the mid one now, finally opening up a little bit more space by getting bottom tier 1 and tier 2. Carl will respond by taking top tier 2, however, so it didn't come for free. Yeah, T1 are rotating down. Does he have travels on Ori? He does not. If this fight breaks out, there's no Lesh Kuku. Smoke behind will seal 11. He's scared though, he will blink away.
There's a DD on Ursa as well.
Zephyr doesn't care. That was a little bit
jumping
wild.
In and out. They're not going to find anybody. At least not yet.
11 can't BKB here.
Yeah, old 11 is in quite a bit of trouble. Pops that BKB, gets the spear off as well. Guardian Angel from afar. Poyo comes in, trying to burst down the Lina, but Carl pops his BKB, should be able to get out just fine. Kuku and company trying to take out the Ursa in the meantime. You can see the Eye of the Storm, so much minus armor against this Ursa. And he's stuck inside that Wukong's command, but the stolen Wukong's from PYW. And Poyo looks like he's going to get out just fine, but Leshrak is just getting decimated. Despite having the BKB, yields himself to safety, but not for long. Drops as a result. And this is turning into a fight for T1. The skewer back on Poyo, and despite having the Aegis earlier, they still lose this fight, Cinderin.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they used RP. I'm guessing they did on the Rubik after he
did, right. So what's really crucial in this fight is Zephyr on the Monkey King getting into the backline. So he forced... And that just doesn't cut it. They need that RP on the big course that Ursa is hitting. So it's off camera right now, off screen. You see the green marker in the bottom left on the minimap connecting in. Yeah. And just sitting on that Rubik. Back to live though. Carl is getting kind of low here, so maybe T1 can't actually get this tower.
Satanic is on the way though, Cinderin. Don't you worry.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Old 11. Oh, he gets off the BKB. Gets a little bit of space there. A couple more right clicks should do it. Nice heal from DY. So old 11 lives as a result of that.
Stolen
LSA stolen. Is going to connect. Spear onto one. Double rebuke as well. That's going to be 2 cleanup kills for Vici Gaming in their own base.
They really wanted old 11 there, but Neck God will escape.
So yeah, a little bit of gold going the way of Vici there, obviously. But, and we didn't mention, of course, that the shard was picked up from Roche on Poyo, so does get the enrage buff every time he earth shocks. But I feel like the story is about Carl, who wait, what did he drop? I thought he had another item on top of this. I mean, he had the wand, I guess.
Bottle. He just swapped the wand out.
Okay.
The bottle was in the first.
So it has a DD bottled.
25 and gets the attack range taunt. Carl is absolutely beastly in this game, and that's honestly still the story. Like, let's think back to 30 minutes ago and what happened in this game. Dota is a game of snowball, and a lot of the reason Carl is in this position is still what happened in the first 5 minutes. So Vici Gaming honestly very impressed with their ability to stay in this with how grim it was looking. That fight close to Roche really gave them a second life in the game.
It does feel like Rubik is that big wild card in these fights.
He is, for sure. If PYW gets a good RP, you can never count Vici Gaming out in this. will be a pretty big difference maker if they find some sort of better solution to the Razor life, static draining the Ursa as well.
Wukong's command, Boundless Strike, trying to create some space here.
Okay, that's
already being forced out, but there's the Horn Toss back into the Wukong's command, and the right clicks from Carl, but Ori's going to live for now. In fact, going to turn this around completely onto the Magnus. So despite a good setup there from T1,
Old 11 could get an arena.
They lose Cuckoo. There's the Mars Arena. 23 Savage has to refresh to get that BKB off, but they're just going to kill Mars in turn, so it's a 1-for-1 now. Ori trying to play a lot, as much pressure as possible onto Carl. He's getting right-clicked down by Poyoyo. Now pops his BKB. Carl just getting stunned like that was a stolen LSA as well. Boundless Strike to follow. Carl has to stand his ground with that Satanic. It's doing a lot of damage, but will finally go down in favor of Vici Gaming, but they do lose Poyoyo. 23 Savage has to stand his ground as well, but it's not going to happen. DY and PYW, the last two remaining members of Vici Gaming, an absolute bloodbath of a fight. It's just the supports left over. The Monkey King is so strong, he gets lifted by PYW. Oh my god, that heal! Zephyr! Jingu Mastery for the freaking win! Has the high five to nobody, but well deserved. My god, that was sick.
Can you believe that ended up being 2 supports versus 2 supports?
Dude, epic showdown. I love that.
And then T1 wins it by 2% health on the Monkey King. And then gets off that. He took the Jingu Mastery talent on level 15. I don't know how many levels Zephyr got in that fight. I think he got like 3 or 4. With everything that just happened on that Monkey King, so is approaching a potential level 25 here.
Yeah, see
he is 20
here.
Before this final fight. Now
all the cores die. It's just the support battle of a lifetime.
And God, I totally understand why Vici Gaming thought they could kill him here, right?
No doubt.
They have that crest. I don't
want more. Oh god, that must have felt so good.
That honestly, that is one of the most satisfying spells to use in the entire game. Boundless Strike with Jingu is that is very, very nice.
You can see the dismay here from Vici is T1 still holding on to a pretty sizable lead, and Vici, off the back of a couple good team fights, have kind of brought themselves back in addition to the 2 Roches. Let's not forget that that probably had some good impact on the game for them. But win probability, I mean, it's not out of reach for Vici. And again, this is only game 1 of this best of 3. Knew this was going to be an absolute bloodbath. Did not know it was going to come down to the supports just tickling each other at the end there. That was great.
Now with things calming down a little bit, Shannon, you know what time it is. It's time for trivia.
Oh, all right.
Are you ready?
Sure. I feel like my percentage on this is like 10.
How old is Carl?
I have no idea.
Same.
Okay.
It would be impressive.
So that was the right answer then.
Yeah, good. That you get,
I just have to match you.
You get a point.
Thank
the
you.
correct answer is what I think.
Yes. Yes. Even if it's incorrect.
Very good. I'm not sure how old Carl is, but old 11. I'm sure he's in trouble.
Okay.
Got out pretty quickly there.
Feel for a little division there, and they're not going to run into anybody. Vici very, very careful right now.
Effectively did break the smoke, so nice job there from old 11, and they back off. And like I said before, I kind of can't believe that Vici Gaming are still playing here. Not in the sense that they should have given up, but in the sense that how on earth are they still in the game? But
yeah,
super impressive stuff from them. Still massively a T1 favorite game.
I should mention, of course,
good
23 Savage, in addition to the Refresher, has an Ags and his 25 talent, so that's 3 Eye of the Storm procs.
Yeah.
And then Refresher on top of that, so...
But also important to note is that a huge portion of T1's damage is physical, right? It's Lina right clicks, it's Razor's Eye of the Storm, like you pointed out. You have Guardian Angel, Solar Crest. Leshrac is finally getting a Shiva's Guard now. You have Satanic on Ursa. There is the potential for T1 that you run into damage issues, actually.
Zephyr does have Nullifier. So okay. Guardian Angel and help. Heavenly Grace, goodbye.
Oh, it's also tier 4 neutral items time. Let's see if anybody gets the Fabled. The Fabled,
Which
what
Bane?
Was it called again? That
Which
was what
Bane?
it was called.
Yeah, if they can get that, that's another Dispel for Guardian Angel. And
Telescope for Carl.
Let's just say it's a Dispel against Omni Knight as a whole. That's pretty much, that's pretty accurate, I feel.
If you're going to put Telescope on for the Dire, you probably put it on Whitemon, right? You just want that attack range and spellcasting range for the team, and Lina doesn't want to give up the Titan Sliver.
Oh, now refresh. Ooh, Ags. Wow. All right, we're seeing some items here. So old 11's going to have double BKB, double Mars Arena, and all that good stuff. And DY gets Aghanim Scepter. So global Guardian Angel. And
10-second duration.
And works on buildings, lasts longer. I was not expecting that one, not going to lie. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah. that refresher on old 11 can make a huge difference. He has a very good chance of surviving. If he blinks in Arena's BKBs and gets GA'd, he can't die, right? Because they can't nullify him during BKB. So I have no real way of killing this. Okay.
Whitemon might run into Poyoyo here. There's the preemptive Heavenly Grace. Roche is not up.
Keywording.
And just pivoting across from each other. They both have idea of where they are.
I don't know. I'm starting to question how far T1 are actually ahead right now. Just
it's
from
starting to go down here, no doubt.
It is just concerning that the VG Gaming cores went from being easy kills to now all being exceptionally tanky, and then you add GA on top of it that can't fail to go off. All they need to do is pop their BKB in the meantime. Effectively, I think T1's strategy needs to be changed to a little bit more of a weaving nature rather than just a hard commit. They will maybe catch some picks here mid, though. Old 11 will blink away. Get the invis. And back off.
Good to go. All right, so a little bit of downtime here. You know what that means, Cinder? Just kidding.
Hey, why don't you ask me something?
Number 3. Being attempted now by T1. That's going to be the refresher shard, so no Ags this time around. As well, we might see a connection here. Poyoyo is going to be spotted by the Plasma Field of 23 Savage. And Roshan getting close to half HP. This is a fight I feel like Vici has to take. They're going to scan, so they know that this is being attempted right now. Old 11 jumps in with the first Arena. BKB by Carl. He just walks out to safety. Old 11 procs his passive now. 23 Savage gets on the Platinum Heal. There's a refresher for Old 11. Able to blink to save the Poyoyo. Getting kited on the backline right now. And you see Kuku boundless strike into RP. T1 decimating this fight, but that's the buyback onto the Rubik. Ori inside this Wukong's command. Just getting kited with that nullifier. Easy kill goes the way of T1 again. And DY basically the last remaining member. There is a buyback from Rubik, but ultra kill from Carl into second Roach, I would assume. And T1 might have just won the game off of this fight alone.
Richie Gaming, I am so sorry for believing in you. The moment I said you had a good shot, you get absolutely crushed and get no kills in the fight.
It's okay.
I got run over. Feeling a little bit like Kyle here.
Radiant's middle tower.
Oh man, that was
I don't think he got
5 from
T1. Yeah, he didn't
so
get off the second Arena. I'm not sure if that would have made a difference.
Right, so first of all, he doesn't get off the second Arena, and I think they didn't layer their Guardian Angel with the BKBs too well. And there was nothing, like, there's no clear target for VG Gaming in that fight that they were able to get on top of. They just kept being, you know, kited around. Some insane Boundless Strike cast there.
Yeah, into the throne.
Oh my god.
They know that these buybacks are likely not here. It's going to be a tier 4 tower, and you can see 23 Savage. Yeah, GG's called. So T1 take game 1, and I mean, they get off to an amazing start, but you got to give Vici credit for making some sort of a comeback when we didn't really see much avenue for it, but they played really well despite not having the laning stage advantage.
Still feels like overall, you know, a deserved win here for T1, even though they had to grind for it a little bit. They were the better team in this game. Vici but not enough. And again, I want to come back to this, and I think this is something the panel is going to talk about as well. How do you enable Ori to have a better laning stage? Do you ban the Lina just so he doesn't get crushed? Because that kind of start at this level of play recovering from just takes so much extra effort that you don't want to have to funnel into the game. You need to pull heroes around to even give your mid laner a chance at playing the game. And Carl just masterclass on how to win as Lina mid against the Leshrac. Yeah, outside of that, you know, if T1 don't get off to this dominant of a start, it definitely looks like this can be a very competitive series for VG Gaming. Imagine if they're not 10k gold behind when they start getting team fights, or 15 as it actually was around that Roche pit. They definitely have what it takes to take down T1, but they're looking great in this first game.
Yeah, I mean, this was a series that I was expecting to go 3 games, and I'm still expecting that going forward, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd like to give a huge shout out to Shiver for tying my tie today. I think she did a wonderful job, so really appreciate that. And with this game number 1 over, Cinder, let's see what the panel has to say about this start to this amazing series.
Good job, Shiver.
Wrong camera.
What a great game. T1 took the victory, and now they are standing at a nice 1-0. Now, one of the things that the casters had mentioned is that it was definitely a stun game. Lots of stuns coming out. We had Monkey King doing Monkey King things, Rubik stealing Monkey King's spell, and also doing Monkey King things. But what would you say was the winning point of the game? Wait, actually, forgive me. because we have a special guest joining us on the panel today. We have none other than the one and only Saberlight from Team Undying. Welcome to the panel. Is this your first panel ever?
It is.
Oh, I'm so sorry you have me as a ghost. Apologies. But anyway, sorry, back to the question. So, Saberlight, I'll ask you first. What do you think was like the winning point of this game for T1?
Honestly, I think it's just their gameplay. I think the way they executed and the way they pressed spells was incredible. Especially like the fight at the top tier 1, when they stunned 3 people after 3 people, it was incredible. I think, and secondly, the draft. I saw the Omni, and I think this hero is very sus. Especially if the enemy team has Purge, which they did. They had Nullifier and they had ENG.
So, would you say that the Omni Knight was a very unideal pick? But if so, what would have been better in that place?
Well, maybe more stunts. I think the Omni Knight hero, it can work in some cases, but I think some regular position 5 could maybe work better in this game. But you know, Vici went with their strat, and props to them for trying it.
All right, so AUI, what do you think T1 did very, very well in that game? I mean, it's a very high kill game. You can see that 21 on Lina. Who would you say the MVP is for this match?
Who drafts for T1? It's Cuckoo, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Cuckoo. I think the draft was just...
Also probably March. I mean, we talked about this the other day, but I think Korean coaches are just OP. And they also have one, right? It's just how it goes. You have a Korean coach, you're off to a really good start.
I feel like, though, if you see Omni Rubik supports, you're able to just abuse it with Enchantress. T1 is just so well set up for success. And they did it. I mean, at the early part of the game, they took over the map, and then they played T1 Dota. You know, they slowed down, they got their timings, and Vici, they're trying to mount a comeback. They took some really good team fights with good coordination, but it just wasn't enough against T1.
Yeah, we actually have one of those team fights. Let's cue it up. I believe it was the one in the Dire top lane. When it was shortly after Mars was in the base doing Mars things. So, Insania, can you explain to me like what the key point of this team fight was? I know that people were kind of yelling a lot when this fight was happening, especially toward the end.
I mean, I know generally speaking, Chinese teams really like this Lina into Lesh matchup because she just can sit back and just auto attack, but it didn't really seem to play out that way this game. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, I don't remember the exact key points of this team fight, but it looks like it's just going to be a very dragged out fight where Ori's dealing a lot of damage. Leshrak's not really in a lot of trouble. With Alina taken out so early from the fight, he just seems to be able to up the damage like crazy.
So there's like a lot going on here, but it seemed like T1 had the upper hand, and then they kind of didn't at the end of this fight. What happened here?
Well, this is the one where Zephyr actually manages to turn it around. It was a epic support fight.
Right.
Yeah, this fight, like Leshrak, even though he was 15k behind, I think he managed to do 12k damage this fight, which is insane. I think it's a lot of what you said is it didn't feel like, I mean, Lina's good versus Leshrak not only in the lane, but he also runs in and you just hit him a lot, and he doesn't get to do that damage. This fight, I think it was actually really well executed by Vici, but at the end, Zephyr, it was just clutch, right? Like he manages to get that stun off and full heal, team white.
I also think it's the Mars versus Lina matchup. It's like really good for Vici that they had Mars, but once the arena is down, the Lina has free reign, so they need to kill him in the arena, otherwise they're in big trouble.
So is this match a prime example of 5s and 4s being really, really, really strong in the meta? It seemed like supports were really the deciding factor in all of these fights.
I think they were doing a good job of surviving. I think both team supports had really good positioning. And I know we talked about this before, but I think T1's team fighting is amazing. And usually, I think core players generally are fairly consistent in how well they team fight. But supports are really like, you can notice a massive difference in how they're used, how the teams use them. Some teams tend to sack their supports more, send them in early, have them die, make the fight easier for their cores. Other teams, like T1, you see both the supports are surviving all the way till the end of the fight. So I think there's the way they use their supports for both Vici and T1 stood out to me.
So they both stood out because they did the same thing in that they were aiming for survivability, and when everybody else was dead, it became a support fight.
Right.
So do you think that when they draft for this next game, do you think that maybe they should be drafting for these supports instead? Because like Saberlight mentioned, Omni Knight was very questionable. So do you think that you'll see supports being picked in first phase, or?
I think they came in with a prepared strat. It felt like they were ready to give away the Magnus, and then the idea was we have Omni Knight to respond for the physical damage, we have the Purge for the RP, and we have the Rubik that can steal it back. And we did see it come into play at some point where the Rubik steals the RP and he gets a massive turnaround somewhere in the early game. But it just seems like at the end of the day, the Mag just does so many other things that are so valuable. I feel like it's not even about the RP anymore, or even the Empower to some extent. Like they had 2 ranged heroes. They didn't really have anyone that uses Empower, so just a like horn toss back into Skewer just seems like a very, very hard thing to deal with.
Do you have anything to add to that before I ask another question?
Yeah, I think the strongest part about Magnus is what Jenkins said before the game. It's the Skewer, and you can break the formation of the other team. And about the supports, I think it's also this game, both teams, they kind of need to kill the enemy mid laner. The Lina and the Leshrac are the main damage outputs for both teams. So the supports can like sit in the back and enjoy, because everyone wants to kill these mid laners. And then like once they're dead, they can start focusing other people in the fight.
So if you were to put yourself in the minds of VG Gaming, who are now on their back foot, what would you do to like kind of reset, refocus your mind, and be like, all right, we can turn around and do this? What would you do, AUI, as a former coach?
I mean, from a coach's perspective, I think Fenrir should try to, even if he doesn't think it's really true, he should try to say like, hey guys, I made a bad pick with the Leshrac into Lina mid. Let's just reset. If we play the same way, but we have a more robust draft, we'll win the next game. Like that's the type of mentality I think Vici should try to have going into the next game.
Is it very common for coaches to just be like, my bad?
I feel like it's person specific. I feel like, for example, I think Insania would take blame even if it's not really his, just to prop up his allies and like give your team the higher percentage to win. Is that true?
Yeah, I think after game 1s you kind of have to sometimes.
Yeah.
If you notice that your
has
team
to do it, right?
Yeah, if your team is uninspired or they feel like, they don't know what to do, like sometimes it's good to just go in and be like, hey, this draft sucked. This game's on me. Forget about it. Let's move on to the next game. And I think when you do that, you kind of take people out of their own heads. You make them not think about the mistakes. You make them focus on, all right, you know what, the draft wasn't great. There was nothing I could have done differently. It's somebody else's fault. Nothing to do with me. And I think, especially in big tournaments and big moments like this, that can be really, really useful just to make sure that you're thinking about the right things.
Interesting. Saberlight, do you have that kind of experience as well?
Yeah, I think even this TI, whenever we lost the game, I think whenever Moon or Febby said that it's like kind of their fault, even though it was like, for example, mine or someone else's, it helps you think about, all right, this game happened. I for sure like did some things badly, but it is what it is. It's like the next game that counts. So it helps you reset and focus on the next game.
Interesting. So it really shows like that team perspective, right? Because Dota is a 5-person game, and even though one person can have a point of failure, it isn't always the fact that, they're the only reason. So the team kind of takes that blame together, or you take the blame for everyone and just say, my bad, or
honestly,
the coach.
Like competitive Dota and pubs, it's very rare that it's one person responsible for the loss.
Right.
Like as long as everyone's trying their best and putting the work in, like the main job of the coach is to make sure everyone's going in with a good mentality.
I feel like we've heard mentality a lot in a lot of these series, especially with like EG and Dr. K and, the teams that are like hyping each other up, like a team spirit, for instance. One of the things that both of you told me, and you were there too, we talked about it too with Jenkins Saberlight, like they're really good at keeping that mentality, like positive mentality, and hyping each other up. It's definitely that. Do you feel like that's super, super important, or do you think that maybe like being like, oh, well, I can learn from this instead?
I mean, I think when you're playing during the season and when you're playing scrims, having like learning attitude and talking about what goes wrong is really important. But once you're at TI, you want to put that aside, because at this point, it's too late. You're committed. Whatever you came in with, that's what you got.
But that's so hard.
Yeah, but the beauty of Dota is that, right? Even if you get absolutely destroyed game 1, when you play game 2, it's even again. It's not like there's some like World of Warcraft where somebody has better gear than you at the start of the next game. It's dead even. So you get a reset and you get to play for free again from the start. So.
All right. Well, before we get started with this next game, let's take a look at some TI memories for VG Gaming.
就是整个 TI 生涯里面最伤心，或者说最惋惜的一个场景。
Experiment. So simple now, but like back then it wasn't. No, it like wasn't the thing to do.
Effie, can we look at the T1 draft now? Monkey King Lion. What are the strengths of this opener?
So this opener is incredibly versatile just in the Monkey King pick alone. We've seen it succeed as a carry, and we've seen it succeed as a support, right?
Yeah.
But vision has been so important throughout this tournament in that we've seen Beastmaster, who typically hasn't run that well, excel in certain games where vision is the name of the game, right? We've seen Monkey King be able to just by scouting the backlines and choke points or Roche, just give so much control to heroes who like to hit from a distance. So we can see it paired up with something that's kind of long-ranged, like Alina in particular, but things like that. Or maybe a hero like Shaker who needs a setup for some kind of jump. And the Lion, he ticks a lot of boxes, right? He just gives you the hard disable that you don't need to worry about in your draft, but he's also a bit of a deny pick because then you're more concerned about picking the spirits who are incredibly popular mid laners.
So, now we're seeing Vici Gaming's draft. We have the opener back again to being a safe. The Weaver Lina, very typical Vici draft. How would you follow this up? What is it that they do, Jenkins, as a team?
I think they need some setups done. That's pretty important. Lina, you know, the Yule's build is something you just like never see anymore. So, you know, Monkey King, obviously it's picked on the other side. That's a decent. Okay, that's all right. So you can like have the Elder Titan sitting in a side lane and then like who's obviously gonna throw the spear out, keep from maybe try to save you, and then like one of these times you get stuck, like Lina shows up and kills you. So it's nice to have a few heroes to play. I remember when Lina some of the best teams would pick it where they would have a mid laner that could set up, and then a side laner who could set up too. So they'd have like a DK, and then Lifestealer back when he had the slow. And that was how they
Sakuragi,
could go to either lane and get a kill.
Thanks for the share, thanks for the like, man. Most appreciated, man.
Rotate from mid.
But now also just
Really
consider all the
appreciate
damage amp that this Lina is going to get. I really hope it's just a core Lina. Like, there's no way that it isn't at this point. But Elder Titan, his aura removes armor and it increases magic damage, right? So Lina, a core with mixed damage who does insane physical damage, but also magical damage. These kinds of cores, like Luna and Lina, benefit so greatly from having an Elder Titan on their team. And paired up with Void, this is, you know, a tested combination. You just are a splitter into Chronosphere, and then you throw out your Spirit, and it just buffs everything that goes on. It's looking pretty solid in terms of damage output right now.
Minus armor are the Weaver bugs too, and Chrono, that's like nothing to scoff at for sure. Like, I really like this Vici draft so far. It seems like easy to execute. There's a lot of combinations that they have. They do damage. They have team fight. Like it really does tick all of the boxes. I hate to, you know. No, you're right. It's like all of the boxes are totally ticked.
So they do pick DK, and DK's a durable type of hero who also just provides the tower damage that they didn't have going for them in the draft so far. But the thing is, like, we were talking about all of this damage coming out of Vici. Dragon Knight's gonna get shredded. They're not gonna have issues dealing with him later on in the game. So now T1 have to play for a bit of a timing where they can kind of push behind this Dragon Knight before he just dies. Because Lina is typically a hero that loves to build Silver Edge too. That's usually her third item after BOTs and BKB. So I'm not sure why they liked this DK so much here, but I guess they really did need to fill that gap. And now they have 4 stuns, which is nothing to scoff at.
That's always good. The more stuns, the easier it is to play.
And very reliable as well. Like Hex, Dragon Tail, even Fissure. Echo Slam is one of the few 0 cast point stuns in the game, so it's not hard to be able to stop any initiations.
I think we actually saw T1 playing versus LGD, I believe, and they picked Dragon Knight mid, and it was the only time that we saw Lina lose mid was to Dragon Knight. So maybe that's the thing. It's like, this is the only hero that deals with Lina.
There could be an idea here as well, because Elder Titan needs base armor, but that's not how Dragon Knight's armor works.
True. It's added armor.
So it's actually kind of, it counteracts ET's armor in that sense.
Is DK a call hero though? Is it the kind of hero you'd expect him on? Because it is similar to Doom in a sense.
You know what? This is going to be maybe a stupid prediction, but I feel like Carl might actually go for a Midas, because I remember him doing this at the Animajor, and I know that is the last thing that like Dragon Knights, I mean, people aren't even playing Dragon Knight, but that's the last thing that Dragon Knights have been doing prior to this patch. And like Blink Dagger into Midas maybe even, just because like I remember Carl distinctly doing that, and like that is just what T1 loves to do.
So T1 ban out Elsie, and I was actually thinking that would be a pretty nice pick, because when you have 4 stuns, you need some kind of cleanse or something like that, which is what Elsie would have provided. But now that that's not available in the pool, they need some kind of blink initiator on Vici, some kind of follow-up, because typically Void can go in for you, but he works best when there's someone to kind of draw attention to themselves, so he can set up for a good Chronosphere.
Yeah, like a Spirit. If we didn't think this Lina was going mid, I'd say like Ember Spirit or something like that is a bando.
Does Doom work here? Because they let him through, and I know that's one of Old Eleven's favorite heroes.
That is one of his favorite heroes.
Oh no, Beastmaster. It's been a while since we've seen Beastmaster for Old 11.
Okay.
This is a good Vici draft. I really like this draft.
Okay, why?
There's a lot. I mean, they've got tons of stuns. They've got tons of setup for the Lina. Like if this Lina goes to any of the lanes, you have the Beastmaster Roar to set up for her. You have the Faceless Void Chronosphere to set up both of the supports. Amplify the Lina's damage. You have the Snowball from the Helm Dom creep on Beastmaster. It's like there's so many ways that Vici could win this game.
Yeah, and to add on to that, when we were talking about Monkey King earlier and how his ability to provide vision is so good for a hero like Lina, who just likes to sit far back and hit things, now you have the Hawk to scout out the Monkey King in the trees, and you have Elder Titan Spirit just running around. So not only do they have the superior vision, but they just have the damage to deal with the durability of T1's heroes.
So what does T1 need to, what hole do they need to fill in this last pick?
I could see them picking a Morphling, and I mean, well, okay, I guess against ET it's not so good. They need something that lanes decently against, Phantom Lancer doesn't seem that bad, but then again, you could go for the Axis build on Beastmaster. You're an Agi hero against ET.
Face the light.
Dawnbreaker.
Okay.
So is this a Monkey King?
Okay, 23 Monkey King. Okay,
yes.
That's not so crazy.
Yeah, of course, that's what I was assuming.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a Dawnbreaker carry.
No, you thought it was Monkey King carry too, right, Jenkins?
Yeah, of course. Right. I'm a professional here.
So Dawn Ags could actually be incredibly good in this game if Zephyr manages to get it because of the added evasion and the added healing, but it can heal through Chrono and through Roar pretty well. So if that's the idea that they were going for here, some kind of save, but also a strong laner, I think Dawn fits the build pretty well. I like VT's draft more though.
So to Effie's point, in case you don't get this, when you deal with Chrono, it being such a strong ultimate, you have two options. Phantom Lancer, for example, that just eludes it or avoids it, or alternatively, you mitigate it. And Dawnbreaker is trying to mitigate the damage in the Chrono, right?
True,
Jenkins?
of course, yes, of course. Dawnbreaker very good against Faceless Void, although you don't stun when you ult into the Chrono, which is a bit annoying.
Yep. Well, we're going to go now with the coach interview. So we have Vichi's coach on the sidelines, and Frankie is ready to ask him some questions.
Prepare for battle. It was your own damn fault.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Suns fan with Cinder and Vici Gaming versus T1 Game 2 of the best of 3. Vici Gaming, of course, have to win to stay alive. If T1 wins, they face off against... They get the pleasure of facing up against IG, who's the top of their group, coming into the main event. Your thoughts, Cinderin?
I think I really like both drafts this game just in isolation. Like when I look at both strategies, it's very clear what they're trying to go for. You've got the T1 strategy with some good team fight between the Monkey King and Shaker with some reliable setup from Lion and Dragon Knight. Dawnbreaker following up is amazing on all of these stuns like we've talked about before. Basically has 4 good friends in this game that just have stuns that help you get into the fight.
Yeah.
You look over at Vici Gaming's lineup, they have the nutty team fight combo of Void plus Elder Titan. And I think Lina is one of the best mid-heroes to play together with Void this patch. You have insane overwhelming damage in the Chronosphere of 2 damage types. You have the position 4 Weaver that's going to probably get a save against these single target stuns from T1. And then Old 11 on a Beastmaster high pressure hero that can get them ahead, get them vision. So really think this will be a closer than game 1, even though, you know, Vici Gaming kind of pulled it back and made it competitive. I think this one we won't see like a 15k gold lead minute 30 for either team.
Unless Carl, no, I don't think the DK versus Lina matchup, I mean, you might end up even if you're really good, but
I do want to talk about this. It's good that you mentioned this because we had another game this tournament with this exact matchup where it was Carl's Lina against Nothing to Say on Dragon Knight, and Nothing to Say won the lane. So I think that is the only hero this tournament I have seen Lina lose to a single time in that mid lane in the first 5 minutes. So gonna keep my eyes on this to see if it's a consistent thing or if Nothing to Say is just that good.
Yeah, might have just been an anomaly, but yeah, we'll have to see after this. I mean, still a small sample size with 2 games, but either way, this is something I do want to mention now because I'm just really interested, as you might know, Cinderin, the idea of Dawnbreaker against Faceless Void. Do you go for, like, do you prioritize Ags this game? Because of the evasion, the extra HP regen that you get, you just have to not be chronoed yourself.
Yeah, so this is why Axe on Dawn is so beautiful against Void. Is the problem that you face a lot of the time is when Void uses Chronosphere, if you ulti right away for the save, you end up, your hero physically comes from high up in the sky and falls down. But if there's a Chronosphere there, you get stuck on the top of the Chronosphere and your stun never lands.
Yeah.
So, but if you have Axe, the channel time is so long, you can just sustain it through the entire Chrono.
Right.
Effectively giving, like you said, the 60% evasion and the healing. So yeah, absolutely. I think it would be an awesome choice this game. It would also kind of force both Ori as well as Poyoyo to get MKBs if they want to even kill on the Chrono. So yeah, I think from my perspective, Zephyr should actually rush it. He shouldn't get a mech this game. It's just straight Axe. It's
really?
That good, yeah.
First item Axe.
I would love to see it.
Wow.
Optional Locket, maybe, but
okay.
Yeah, I think the Aghanims is just that good here.
Very cool. As we see Carl versus Ori, as we've already talked about, pretty even. I mean, 6 denies though for Ori. That's going to give him the level advantage for now, but to be expected between this particular matchup. Old 11's going to be playing Beastmaster this time. I haven't gotten to see a ton of Beastmaster on him this tournament. It feels like that hero has tapered off a bit with the nerfs to Helm of the Dom. Well, Helm of the Overlord specifically. What are your thoughts on this choice this time?